area down here for us a few years ago, and so we showed up at the fire. We were right there, ground zero, with our insureds, who made sure that they were taken care of quickly. We were able to get people the money that they needed to cover their expenses from that loss.
For insurance for your home, auto, business, and just about everything else, trust your local independent insurance agency, Gates Cole Insurance, proudly representing Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty Company of Trumansburg, New York.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
You're invited to the 2023 Glimmerglass Festival, the world-renowned summer opera and musical theater festival located just minutes from Cooperstown. Glimmerglass has been presenting innovative, rare, and familiar works of opera and classic Broadway for nearly 50 years in a summer-long celebration of the arts that's an easy day trip from anywhere in the Mohawk Valley. This year's festival runs July 7th through August 20th, with productions that speak to the aspirations, curiosity, and passions of growing up, and what can happen when life doesn't always play along. Purchase tickets today for Puccini's La Boheme, Bernstein's Candide, Gounod's Romeo and Juliet, Handel's Rinaldo, and a world premiere youth opera. Learn more at glimmerglass.org. The Glimmerglass Festival, a highlight of your summer experiences in the Cooperstown region. Hiking, kayaking, picnicking, museums, and world-class opera and musical theater. Truly a one-of-a-kind summer destination and just a short drive from anywhere in the Mohawk Valley. Join us and see for yourself why there's no place quite like Glimmerglass.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password,
for you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated US-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to lifelock.com.
Our WIBX 950 and 106.9 Industry A's WB Pain Insurance has been a leader in their field for over 65 years. Are you tired of feeling like just another number when it comes to insurance? Look no further than WB Pain, a family-owned and operated agency that truly cares about your unique needs. At WB Pain, we understand that family comes first. That's why we've been providing top-notch insurance solutions to our community for over 65 years. Our friendly and knowledgeable agents are always available to answer your questions and help you find the perfect solution for your family's unique needs. And because we're a family-owned business, you can trust that we'll treat you like one of our own. We're always up to date on the latest insurance trends and policies, so you can trust that we'll provide the best advice and guidance to protect what matters most to you. So why not join the WB Pain Insurance family today? Visit WBPain.com. WB Pain, protecting your family like it's our own, with smart solutions to save you money.
He might not have a badge, but we have faith in his killer instinct. Celebrate the 10th anniversary of famed detective priest, Father Brown. Stream the new season now, only on BritBox.
That sounds like a marvelous plan.
Plus, watch even more unofficial detectives in much-loved series, including Agatha Christie's Marple, Murder in Provence, and more. Expect intriguing mystery. Expect the Undetectives. Start streaming today at BritBox.com.
Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen?
Keeler's always in the know.
It makes me want to call him
and tell him where to go.
And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Okay, the beautiful day, kind of beautiful day. Should be a nice day on the way today as compared to what we dealt with in the last 24 hours. But I do want to just start with yesterday, Richard. Richard, if you're listening, I do have to say, yesterday he said, "You're nuts. I don't know what you're talking about." You said there's going to be a little sunshine, and for about an hour yesterday, the sun was shining. It was blue skies mixed with clouds. And then the skies opened up all again. But I think I had said yesterday, we might even get a little peak of sunshine later on today. And that's exactly what happened. It's as if God looked down and said, I want to give you one because Richard harasses you so much. And that's what happened yesterday.
Is this your victory lap?
It's a victory lap. It is. And, of course, the Mets finally pulled one out last night, beating the Yankees. What was it? 4-3 was the final. Well, Davey, we're split 1-1. What the hell are you going to do?
Yeah, but the biggest thing is Drew Smith gone. Get on mic.
Go ahead. Oh, is that the suspension? Yeah. That doesn't bother me all that much because I don't know. So he's not going to be able to come in and blow a lead in the eighth inning? Yeah. I'm okay with that.
I'm sure we can find somebody else.
Somebody else to do it. That's exactly right. It's not going to kill me. Okay, so we know that Mike Hennessy has lost his appeal to the appellate court. I wonder if he'd come on the phone this morning, Jeff. He has lost his appeal to the appellate court, and that means there will be no Republican primary in the county executive race. We'll speak with County Executive Anthony Pacini later on this morning. But what do you think on this? Did we get a series of bad judges, or was the right decision made?
I don't know what the ruling was, and I don't know why the petitions were disqualified. I'm going to be honest, and I think I'm always fair with Mike, and I think Mike's a nice guy, but I don't think this was going to be a close primary race, in my opinion.
Well, and I've already heard rumblings that the court is fixed. So now we're saying the appellate court is fixed.
Oh,
man, we're playing the Trump playbook here, and it only works for Trump. I wouldn't play it.
Well, I think Trump's luck's run out on that card too.
Think about it. You have a judge that is ruled against him, and now a panel of 3 judges, or is it 5 at the appellate? I don't know. I've stood in front of them before. It's just a giant blur for me. Anyway, that's the latest on that. Maybe we can speak with Mike. However, that does not mean he's out of the race, right?
7.
Total of 7. It does not mean that he's out of the race. He is on an independent line. I believe they're going to be okay with that, although there might even be a court proceeding with that one. But speaking to some people who seem to be in the know, I think he has enough signatures to be able to get on that line. So on an independent line, I forget the name of it, but it's an independent line.
It's like it's a tax cut and something else.
It's tax cut and term limits, I believe.
Yes,
the
term
tax
limits,
cut and term limits party.
So I reached out to Mike Hennessy last week about the challenge for petitions on that line. And I believe he said they were not challenged. Either the deadline had come and gone for challenges to that line, and I don't think there were objections to it, to my memory, based on what he said.
I thought there was one, someone from Vernon, but I could be wrong. But I do believe that at the end of the day, he's going to be on the ballot, and that means there will be a race, so he'll be on the general election ballot, I believe. take it for what it's worth. But we'll hopefully talk to Mike about the decision from the appellate division, and then what he plans to do going forward. But for now, it means there will be no Republican primary. It's amazing that we found out at this late hour, right? Early voting begins Saturday, and we're just learning. We're learning just right now.
So I find it interesting too, because wouldn't ballots have to be printed up by now? Or they start printing this morning? Is that how that works?
Well, I would think they would have to wait, and they would have to wait. So my guess is they started printing, let's see, what is today? Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday is when the decision came out. So I would bet by Wednesday morning they were printing up ballots for Oneida County. Remember the person that was well, let's see, we had the fire at Zeb's. And then we had the fire at Macrina's.
Manja Macrina's.
Manja Macrina's.
And then Word of Life. That was the third
Word of Life,
third
right.
location, yeah.
So the person who has been accused of that has been sentenced to 7 to 12 years in jail, now a convicted arsonist.
Wow.
7 to 12 years in jail.
Wow, that was he on trial?
I believe so. New Hartford man has been sentenced. Yeah, there's 14 years in 7 to 14 years in state prison for setting fire to Manja Macrina's Pizzeria and other buildings in town. Listen, we're entitled to a speedy trial.
So
that's speedy.
That is speedy. Somebody who reaches out to both of us quite often, who lives not too far away. And good morning if you're listening this morning. I don't want to say his name unless he wants it shared, but he had looked at this individual's social media account and kind of said, "You will not believe some of the stuff that's on there." And I don't want
on this person's
who was sentenced, and it was things like, "I know they're watching me. There's a camera in my air conditioning unit, or my what do they call it? Not air conditioner. What do they call the big units they put outside the house now? Whatever they call it. It's not called an air conditioner. They call it
is it in his shed?
Maybe.
I have a big shed in the background. We call it our unit. I don't know.
Climate control. I forget the actual temperature control. I can't think of the exact name for it. But
like a central air unit.
Thank you. Exactly.
That's what you're
central air.
Right.
That
someone is in his.
There were all kinds of claims that made me think this person is not playing with a full deck of cards.
I don't want you to think any less of me, but there's a hole in the tile in the bathroom wall, and I plugged it. I have no idea who's on the other end of that line. For God's sakes, it goes into the engineering office. Anything could happen.
Anyway, he had pointed out to me, if you go through and read this individual social media page,
I've seen it. It's not good. And
so I'm almost surprised that wasn't part of the defense. Like they were being, it's one of those things. I'm speaking generally, not specific to this person. Avoid a lawsuit here, but like the defense would be, the voices in my head told me to go try to burn down this building or something along those lines.
Yeah, and I do believe, and I could be wrong, that there may have been some situations that happened even before that. So nonetheless, listen, it is what it is, and it's over. I feel bad for the Manja Macrina people who are still trying to get that building back up and running. They're operating, I believe, out of their food truck. So I think you still can order from them, but you'd be using the food truck.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I hope they had insurance, and I hope they have insurance that'll make them whole again, so they can stay in business and do what they were doing before the incident.
So Durhamville, you remember the story of the teacher who had been charged. This is in Durhamville, charged with tripping the 5-year-old student.
Yeah, the teacher. Yeah.
Yes. So we have an update on that. He has. Was it a she? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Has pleaded guilty to intentionally tripping the 5-year-old. Teacher from Oneida County arrested after allegedly intentionally tripping a 5-year-old. Now pleads guilty. Sharon Schnoffer of Chittenango has pleaded guilty to endangering the welfare of a child. State police received law enforcement referral from the New York State Department of Social Services regarding an incident that occurred March 20th at the Durhamville Elementary School. The incident allegedly involved a 5-year-old student who was walking down the hall when Schnoffer intentionally tripped the student. No injuries to the student, but and we had discussed this at the time. Was this is this worthy of calling the police, or should this be something that's handled within the school? I don't know. Think if that was your kid or your grandkid, and you found out that an adult teacher,
50-year-old,
whatever, right, an adult, as Jeff says, 50-year-old adult, put out their foot and tripped the kid, and for what reason? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a bizarre story. It is.
It is a bizarre story.
You bring up a good point, though. If that was my kid, I would be like probably getting charges myself because I'd be losing my mind.
You'd be livid
in the secretary's office or the principal's office.
I once had a situation. Where a teacher. Now, I have two angels and a child who was like me. So take it for what it's worth.
It's a good description. Interesting.
And I have a son who probably was a class clown and got himself in trouble from time to time. Did very well and has done incredibly well for himself. Went off to college. Now has a full-time job. In fact, he's probably making more money than all of us right now.
Good for him.
Yes, good for him. But I'll be the first one to say, if my kid gets in trouble, I'll be the first one to be like, you know what? He'll be punished at home, or she'll be punished at home.
Absolutely,
we'll handle it on our. And I've even had one situation where the teacher said, "Well, we took care of it here. You don't need to do anything at home." And I'm like, "Well, we do. This is just how we do it." So anyway, that's the way it has been. However, my son got like a 50 on a test, and he was the only one in the class that didn't do well. And the teacher took his paper and held it up in the front of the room and spoke his name and said, look at your score. You got a 50 on this. And completely humiliated him in front of the whole class over it. Now, I had a problem with that.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah. Although, in hindsight, I wonder if he remembers that, and I wonder if that was a motivation for him.
No, he just remembers the aftermath of it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
What was the aftermath? Do you want to get into that?
It wasn't good. No. I just felt like, come on.
Yeah, I don't like the singling out.
If he's screwing around, he should be punished. But because he didn't do well on a test, you're gonna out him in front of every one of his classmates. That's bullcrap. So, and that's that. Imagine what it would be if you had a 5-year-old and the kid was tripped.
Yeah.
I think you'd have, by an adult, I think you'd probably have a problem with it.
So is there an indication as to whether or not that person is still a teacher and they were sentenced or pled guilty to endangering the welfare of a child, which means essentially if you're on probation for a year?
If you pleaded guilty to the probation or to the endangerment of a child, I would say you're probably... Now you're going to be dealing with the school. So you've dealt with the authorities. Now you'll be dealing with the school
and afterwards.
And state ed department.
Gotcha.
Yeah. My guess is at 50, it's time. If you're so frustrated, you're to the point now where you're pleading guilty to tripping 5-year-olds, probably time to retire.
Yes, and
if you can get that retirement, get it and get out.
I'm searching here. I'm really searching, but the only thing I could think of is a golden rule type thing where you have a 5-year-old who is constantly tripping or trying to knock over other students, and then you've talked to little, I'm just going to make up a name here, little Billy, and you see Billy walking down the hall, and you do it, and then Billy doesn't get hurt, and you go, Billy, that's the only thing I could think of.
Even then,
I'm not saying it's acceptable,
even
but
then it's wrong.
Why would you trip a 5-year-old?
You're right. So you're trying to think of what was going.
What was
through
the justification?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it makes it okay.
No,
I'm just saying why would you do that?
Let's see, Richard. Listen, Richard. Yesterday, I just want to read it back. Yesterday, I said he's responding to me, so bear with me.
Okay.
Yesterday, Richard, I said it's going to be rainy today. Expecting rain through the day, but we might actually get a little peak of sunshine later on in the afternoon. And Richard said to me, what planet do you live on? It is going to rain cats and dogs all day today. And it did.
Yeah, it did.
But it also, we had about 45 minutes of sunshine where it warmed up a little bit. I even sent you a picture of blue sky.
Richard, this is his second victory lap on that, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm responding to him now. We had this is Richard. We had about 5 minutes of sun. Well, it was more than that. Not much more than that, but, more than that. Plenty of time to play a round of golf, a cookout, mow your grass, and get a great tan, LOL. We had one patch of a broken cloud opening. That's not true. It was a stationary front that swirled over central New York. Hope you enjoyed all that beautiful sunshine for 5 to 10 minutes and accomplished everything I mentioned. Listen, I didn't say that we're going to be out doing cartwheels for an hour and a half. I said the sun came out just as I said it would. I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, I was looking out the window all day long. I'm like, yeah, it is pouring rain. Richard was so right. And then out of nowhere, I'm like, what is that? What? Oh, my God, it's the sun. Yeah. Oh, well.
Can I share a couple comments via the app that I didn't get to yesterday?
Yesterday we had, I thought, a very uneventful, and I do think that people really appreciated that, an uneventful debate between the two Republican candidates for mayor in the city of Utica, Mike Galimi and Bob Cardillo. And I think we did learn that in many cases they agreed on a lot of things. I really was surprised with that. There was a lot of agreement, although oftentimes when they agreed, even when they agreed, they had different versions of how they would handle that agreement. But at the end of the day, I think people got a chance to hear from both of the candidates, and that would help them make an informed decision when they walk in and cast their vote, beginning possibly this Saturday with early voting.
In fairness, it's probably not a good look to say, like if you and I were in a debate and someone asked me a question and I went, yeah, what Bill said. Right. So there's a little nuance in there. There's some, and I at the end, people, look, a few people.
But should you also just disagree to disagree?
No.
Right? I mean, that looks shallow on its own. So it puts you in a really tough position, I think.
People were asking, and I know Bob Cardillo has said before that if he loses, he's still going to carry the conservative line. And people were asking.
I believe he said, not to be nitpicky, but I believe he said, I believe most likely I will.
Okay.
I don't think we ever got a definitive yes, but I think you're right. I think he's planning to do that.
And I just, I wanted to know what, essentially, I wasn't trying to spark something, but I wanted to know kind of what they thought of each other. So that was why I asked that last question that way. If you weren't in the race, essentially, would you be voting for your opponent right now, as opposed to one of the Democrats in the race? And they both actually were I'd be voting for Mike, and I'd be voting for Bob. So.
And listen, I feel like that was an answer that, because even so, Mike Galimi said I would vote for Bob based on everything going on. I would vote for Bob, and then Bob said, that's a tough question. Let me think about that. Well, I'd vote for Mike. I'd have to vote for Mike, and I wonder if when we get in that booth, nobody knows who you're voting for.
Correct.
And I wonder if that was a good political answer or if that's how they really feel. I don't mean to question them. I'm just, was that a strategic move or a move of honesty?
So a couple of things we got to yesterday that the comments I wasn't able to get to. We talked about that story in Canada where there was the grandparent at a sporting event who stood up and said, This is a girl's event, and that's a boy.
Yeah,
and it's actually not a boy. It was actually a young lady who was born as a girl. So
born as a girl, and so it's a tomboy. But even if these are like 10-year-old kids, what are you doing? That's just my take.
Conservative John said there is no First Amendment in Canada, so he's arguing you can go to jail for misgendering someone. And then John from Rome followed up by saying, we have a lot of Johns who comment. John from Rome said, I think the word you're looking for is defamation.
Yeah, I think that's good, and I agree. Listen, Canada, our friends to the north are a free nation. There's no doubt about it.
But not a freedom of speech
It does not have they do not have the same freedoms that we have in this country, and there are limitations on free speech, as well as many other laws that they just don't have the same freedoms that we have.
So that's John from Rome and conservative John. Meanwhile, John in Utica on something we talked about previously. In case someone didn't already answer your question about Jill Biden's degree, multiple online sources say that she earned a doctorate in education from the University of Delaware in 2007 and completed her dissertation, which is published online. A couple of other things.
I don't know why we got into that. Did you say there's a rumor that she isn't really a doctor? I think that's what was said.
Well, somebody had said that during the pandemic, why doesn't Dr. Biden do something or come up with something, or you could trust Dr. Biden to come up with something,
right.
And I didn't think she was a medical doctor. And then also somebody said
she's not a medical doctor.
And somebody had also suggested that she was going to school for a doctorate but had never completed it. So that was Chris and Alien. Thank you. No. That was John in Utica. Chris and Alien says, can you explain to the audience, this is on Trump.
I'm pretty sure she's a doctor.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not disputing what John in Utica said. Chris and Alien says, can you explain to the audience, why would a president, this is on Trump, want to hide documents? What is the purpose? It's a box of papers. Basically, who cares? Hand them over. Why would you be hiding specific information?
I just agree that this didn't have to happen. Had he just handed over those documents, we wouldn't even be dealing with this. And now the country's being ripped apart again over this ridiculousness. You know what I find interesting? And this should make you feel, I feel somewhat betrayed. So right now you have the FBI, Department of Justice, certainly making claims against Donald Trump. And all of a sudden, we now have a whistleblower claiming that President Biden took $5 million, right? Took $5 million from the Ukrainians, and it was through Hunter Biden, all of that stuff. Okay, so what I find interesting is, and this, just think about it for a moment, and you can, whether you're a Trump supporter, not a Trump hater, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, left, right, doesn't matter. Think about this just for a moment. Don't you find it interesting that Democrats trust the FBI, which says Trump hid documents and broke the law, and Republicans don't, because the FBI has been weaponized? Now, with that said, when the FBI whistleblower comes forward and says, I know there was an audio recording, Biden did this, he took $5 million when he was vice president, and the FBI, we buried it. I know it's true as a former FBI agent. Republicans say, that's the credible FBI. And Democrats say, you can't trust the FBI. Don't you find it funny? It really is only about, as long as they're saying what the Democrats or Republicans want. It just disgusts me on both sides.
Yeah.
That's just so.
No, you're right.
You know,
we saw the same thing with COVID. When Trump was in office, he was pushing a vaccine, and Harris and Biden were like, well, I don't know. I never heard of a vaccine coming that quick. I don't know why you would trust, And then once they got elected, it was a flip-flop.
And then it completely flipped.
Speaking of
the politics we live in today, it's disappointing.
It is disappointing. If you don't like the truth, then you say it's not the truth. So that's how that works.
And it's listen, it's down. It's both sides.
And based on no insight into evidence, just what your person says. Whatever the person you like, whatever they say is a fact for you.
Here's a question for you. In New York State, what is the wealthiest county upstate? So we know Westchester County is wealthy. I would imagine Manhattan County is very wealthy. But in upstate New York, what is the richest county, would you say, upstate? Davey is ready for the answer. And the answer is...
Saratoga?
Saratoga. You're absolutely right. It's Saratoga. Man, and if you've not been, you say you haven't been to Saratoga for the races?
No.
The Saratoga day life and nightlife is just exploded up there. It's really a beautiful town. And the racing is cool. That'll be coming up on, I believe, it opens on July 13th this season. And but there is some money up there in in Saratoga County.
I think when you say it, though, you can't call it Saratoga. You have to call it Saratoga. That's how you have to say it.
Thoroughbred.
A couple of other comments here, and this is on Trump, if I can get to them.
Yep.
This is from Ralph. He says, just a gentle reminder, the fake fixed election card never worked for Trump or the 1,000-plus people charged so far for January 6th. Justice and karma are coming for Trump. It's time to pay the piper for everything he's done to our country.
A lot of anti-Trump comments. That surprises me.
We do have several of those. Good morning to John in Bridgewater. He's talking about the forecast. I don't know.
John, it rained. Listen, it rained all day long, and I get it. I just made a small, little, stupid comment that we're going to get a little sunshine, and it turns out we did.
And I guess this
for a very brief period of time.
I guess this is my fault because I brought up this story yesterday in Canada, but FX New Hartford says, if genitals don't decide gender, then why do we need to cut them off of people to change their gender?
I'll let you that one sink in. I really don't know what to say to that. The world's largest kidney stone has been removed, and it's enormous.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, if the doctor ever says to you, you have a kidney stone, but I think it'll pass. Not this one.
This is where you pass through urine, correct?
Yes.
Typically. And then don't they have sometimes they get like a laser blaster? They'll go in.
They can do that.
And they'll break it up.
But they also have times where they're so large where you must remove them.
Surgically.
And that's what had to happen here. The world's largest kidney stone, think about this.
Called Guinness.
Is from a patient in Sri Lanka, and it was the size of a large or medium-sized grapefruit.
Wow.
Enormous. Yeah, think about that. You ain't passing that, baby.
Wow. How does that happen?
Immediately after having it removed. I don't know. Previously, the records were 13 centimeters for length, set in India in 2004. Like, we're breaking records.
Goodness.
My kidney stone is bigger than yours. Guinness World Records has confirmed that both records have been broken by this latest stone. Kidney stones consist of solid pieces of material that crystallize in the kidney or bladder due to a genetic or environmental factors. They say if you drink a lot of diet soda, you can get kidney stones.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know how true that is, but I've been told don't drink too much of it.
Well, if that's the reason, and a quick Google search says most kidney stones are formed when oxalate, a byproduct of certain foods, binds to calcium as urine is being made in the kidneys. So I just wonder.
Also can be genetic. Because we have Jonathan Savage.
Did that person have like a diet of exclusively drinking diet soda? Like, is that the only thing they drank?
Yeah, I don't know. And in Sri Lanka, don't know. Could be the diet, could be genetic. We were talking about COVID and how this country dealt with COVID, and we did have a lot of the same thing. Remember when Nancy Pelosi was spotted at a party, but we weren't supposed to be doing parties at that time.
Remember the Super Bowl where like they had a whole celebrity deck where none of the celebrities were wearing masks?
Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is still dealing with his situation over COVID lockdown parties. So the latest on that, Jonathan Savage on the line. Jonathan from Fox News, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What do we know about this one?
Yeah, this is all about Partygate. The parties being held at 10 Downing Street while the rest of the UK was in COVID lockdown. A committee of lawmakers investigated whether Boris Johnson lied to Parliament when he said that he was told that all the rules were followed. Now, in the British Parliament, lying is the ultimate sin. You're not even allowed to call someone a liar in the House, such is the gravity associated with that word. And this report may not use such unparliamentary language, but make no mistake, they're calling Boris Johnson a liar. They're saying he deliberately misled the House of Commons. They're saying he deliberately misled the committee. They're saying he undermined democracy. And they accuse the former leader of Her Majesty's government, as it was then, of being complicit in a campaign of abuse and intimidation against the investigating committee.
Parliament is such a unique atmosphere when compared to what we see in Congress today. Certainly today. But it always does seem, Jonathan, it always seems to be not the crime, but the cover-up, right?
That would appear to be it. Yeah, it wasn't so much that these events took place, but the way Boris Johnson attempted to justify them, attempted to justify his behaviour, justify his presence, being shown not socially distancing with a drink in his hand at a leaving do in November 2020 at the height of the pandemic. But the fact that he went into the House of Commons and said that he thought these were work events and not parties, and anyone, I think any normal person would look at these and not see that as a regular work event. And he said that officials told him that all the rules were followed. And the committee drilled into who these officials were, and they discovered it was a couple of press officers who told him that the rules were followed. And maybe told him on a couple of occasions. It was really just a line to take. And that's partly why they said he must have known he wasn't telling the truth. They found him in contempt of Parliament. Never in the several hundred-year history of the British Parliament has a Prime Minister been found in contempt.
Wow. It's funny how the similarities across the pond. We have similarities here. And then finally, how does the general public receive this?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of anger over what happened in Downing Street during the pandemic. A lot of people talk about the sacrifices they made. They talk about the parties they didn't go to, they didn't get to have. And more seriously, they talk about the goodbyes they didn't get to have. They couldn't visit loved ones in hospitals and in care homes. And a lot of people, when they see what was happening, the rules, the people who are making the rules, apparently not following the rules, it absolutely sickens a lot of people. Now, some people do defend Boris Johnson. They say, look, a lot of people were breaking the rules at that time. You need to cut them a little bit of slack. They were working very hard. But what I think we'll find out next week is exactly how divided his Conservative Party is when they vote in a free vote on whether they agree with this committee's finding.
Jonathan Savage, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
Anytime. You too.
All right. Jonathan Savage from Fox News. Speaking of Fox News, I think this was a mistake by the Fox News channel. On Wednesday, yesterday, this actually happened on Tuesday, but what we're talking about happened Wednesday in the White House press briefing. So during, this would have been in the afternoon, Kilmeade was filling in on Tuesday. There was talk about former President Trump being indicted. And up on the Chiron, we all know, right, the Chiron is the machine that generates the graphics that you see on television. So if there's a lower third with a person's name and their title, etc., that would be, Jeff, the Chiron, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So this yesterday happened in the White House press briefing. One of the reporters asked the question, and actually on Fox News, the Chiron read on Tuesday, describing President Biden as a wannabe dictator. And that was up on the graphic. And the discussion was that Biden was acting like a dictator because Biden is trying to put his opponent in jail, is what the comments are about. Wherever you are on that, I don't want to debate that. But what is interesting is yesterday, Fox News went to the White House press briefing when a reporter asked, do you want to comment on the fact that yesterday Fox News called President Biden a wannabe dictator? When the press secretary went to Jean-Pierre, went to comment on it, Fox broke away. They should have stayed. They should have stayed on that, right? You shouldn't break away from that. I mean, you made the statement. Let's see what they have to say. But let the people see what they have to say about it. But they broke away.
Two things. As much as I want to disagree with you, you're absolutely right. And the second thing is, if I can just comment on the wannabe dictator thing, I could be wrong on this. I guess time will only tell. I'm not telling anybody listening to this not to like Trump. You want to like Trump, love Trump. Send him money. Do whatever you want to do. Vote for him. I don't care. He cannot win the national election. He might win your state. He might win your district. He might win your county. He might win your region. He cannot win the national election. Hate mail, direct it this way.
Okay. That's Manaski, P.O. Box, Jeff. An Iowa woman who made national headlines when her claims of having these just...
They want to be dictator. I think the Democrats want him to be the candidate because they know he can't win.
Yeah, Davey.
All right, P.O. Box 950.
Oh, it's not Jeff? I'm sorry.
P.O. Box JEFF, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
An Iowa woman who made national headlines. This stuff angers the daylights out of me because I know so many people who have suffered and are real. But are you that much in need of money that you're willing to claim that you have cancer? These cases have been going around forever, right? You see it, whether it's been a can at an American Legion, please help out Sobe Dobe because she has cancer, or now we're using TikTok, and that's what this person did. She has pleaded guilty. She had raised over $37,000. The 20-year-old claimed she had cancer and started a GoFundMe and promoted it on TikTok. She has been nailed and will be sentenced.
I hope to a long prison sentence.
She even went so far as to say that she had a football-sized tumor on her spine, and when you look at her, she's kind of a little thing. And
you would see it protruding from her back.
I feel that a football-sized tumor on the spine would be she'd be the hunchback of TikTok, right? And she was not, but she has been outed, and she gets what she gets.
That's disgusting.
And then this is a very rare case, but when someone tells you someone who only a white person didn't somebody say this recently? There was a debate in the national media about this where someone had said only white people can be racist. Only white people can be racist. That's been going around which is totally just not true. Certainly during a period of our history, those who were white had the upper hand and were in control and had power. And during times of our history, that's true. However, people in general, in their hearts, can be racist. But what about inside a company? Can there be discrimination? A federal jury on Monday awarded $25.6 million to a white Starbucks manager who was fired after police arrested two black men at a Philadelphia store she oversaw. The jury said there was sufficient evidence to believe the manager, who was not present at the time of the arrest, was fired because of her race. Shannon Phillips, a former Starbucks regional director, filed suit against the company in 2019. She oversaw the managers of Starbucks stores in Philly, Delaware, New Jersey, and Maryland. The federal jury found that race was a factor in her termination and awarded her $600,000 in compensatory damages, $25 million in punitive damages for violations to her rights under state, federal, anti-discrimination laws. So
there you go.
It
That
is
settles
true that discrimination is discrimination. It does not matter the color of your skin.
And the argument, if you think about it, the argument that only white people can be racist, like think about somebody saying something derogatory toward fill in the Hispanics. If a person of color says that, isn't that not also racism? I mean, right? Or saying something to somebody who's Asian, picking on them, singling them out for some reason. Only white people can do that? That's the only time it's an offensive thing or a bad thing? It's just such a ridiculous argument.
It is.
And in this case, apparently, she made the argument that she was fired. It was that she was fired because she was white?
Well, here's the issue. This happened in 2018. Police arrested Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson at a Starbucks in Philadelphia after the manager called police to report two gentlemen in my cafe are refusing to make a purchase or leave.
I remember this.
According to a tape released by Philadelphia police, both men were charged with trespassing and creating a disturbance. Police dropped the charges later that night. Robinson told Good Morning America that the incident occurred after a manager said restrooms were for paying customers and asked the men if she could get them any drinks or water. Following the incident, then Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross apologized to the men and walked back the comment that the officers involved did absolutely nothing wrong. The incident sparked days of protest in Philadelphia at that location. The pair reached a settlement with Starbucks, which said it would close more than 8,000 stores for racial bias training. I don't believe that's racist, and certainly this is complex because this is the original story, but I feel like there are many stores that have a rule, whether you're white or black or Hispanic or whatever you are. A lot of these shops with public restrooms, people like to go in there and shoot up. do drugs in the bathroom, and they clog up the bathrooms, and in some cases you have to call authorities because the person is ODing in the bathroom.
Yep.
This happens locally. It happens here locally.
Yep.
So I don't think it is being a bigot to say you can't be in here. You got to be buying something. You just can't be sitting in here. I don't think that's bigotry.
I learned about this in a public relations class.
Devin is our sports/intern/ Utica College, a Utica University student.
Yeah. So I took a class. It was on cases in public relations, and we talked about this case. And the big thing was they were there for a business meeting, and they were just sitting there waiting for it was the two of them. They were waiting for one more guy who hadn't arrived yet. And during all this, they were like kept coming up to them like multiple times. Like we watched videos and stuff on it as well. So I thought that was very interesting.
And beyond that, the woman was suspended, and her suspension and ultimately firing, according to the court, was determined to be because she was white. That also was discriminatory. And by the way, the two men settled with the police department and Starbucks, so they paid out to everybody on this one. But in the case of the white manager, she was following policy, and she won a lot of money in court.
It is tough to make the argument, though, fired for being white. I mean, how'd you get hired then? I always found that interesting. I was fired for being X.
Well, I think they
well,
thought
then
that
how
they
did
were
you get
trying
hired?
They needed a
scapegoat.
You mentioned PR. They needed a scapegoat, and they felt that in order to stop the protests, if they fired a white person, it would help their cause, and that's what this case is really all about. Kind of interesting, right? Which is why I said very, very complex. Got a break. Hold on tight. Much to do. Coming up, WIBX Utica Rome. It's 7 o'clock.
It'll be formally announced today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A grand jury indictment in New York City charging a Marine veteran in the death of a homeless black man on a New York City subway. Daniel Penny had already been arrested on manslaughter charges.
It took 11 days for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office to charge Penny, and the charge came only after protests in New York City from activists outraged. Penny was not immediately arrested and charged.
Penny claims Jordan Neely was threatening passengers on the train when he took action.
The Marine veteran defends himself, saying he and fellow passengers were scared of Neely and that he only meant to restrain, not kill Jordan Neely.
Fox's Brian Yennis. The accused gunman in last year's mass shooting at a Colorado Springs gay nightclub is expected to agree to a plea deal on murder and hate charges. 5 people were killed, 17 wounded. Anderson Lee Aldridge told the AP he has to take responsibility. Senate Republicans are pushing for a special counsel to investigate President Biden over a bribery allegation detailed in an FBI document from when he was vice president in business dealings with his son Hunter.
These allegations, if true, Joe Biden should be impeached. He should be removed from office.
And prosecuted. That's what Senator Ted Cruz tells Fox. Democrats have said it's an unproven allegation. The president's called it malarkey. As Attorney General Merrick Garland insists there's no politics in the special counsel investigation that led to former President Trump's indictment over his handling of classified documents. Trump claims he's a target as Biden's top political rival. There's another Trump challenger in the 2024 White House race.
Miami Mayor Francis Suarez is now a candidate for the Republican nomination for president. Suarez is 45 years old and a lawyer who is in the midst of his second term as the nonpartisan and part-time mayor of Florida's most populated city.
That's Fox's Evan Brown. America's listening to Fox News.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting America's heroes and their families since September 11, 2001, like the family of Franklin, Tennessee police officer Jeffrey Carson. He left a successful country music career behind to serve his community. Then he lost his life in the line of duty. Tunnel to Towers helped his wife and son by paying off their mortgage. Help support hero families like the Carsons. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
WIBX News Time 7:03. This news update is brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Utica and Power Sports of Utica. Stop in today to check out their large selection located at 4870 Commercial Drive. We do have chances of some more rain showers today, certainly nothing like we saw yesterday. Right now, cloudy skies and 57 degrees. Utica police making an arrest of a 21-year-old man following several complaints of groping and attempted groping in downtown Utica. This happened on Tuesday morning. It was reported that the female victims, while walking to their vehicles, were approached by a man who began to speak to them. While doing so, the male then proceeded to grab the females and attempt to grab them in their intimate parts. Upon defending themselves, the man then ran off. 3 separate victims reported this happening on Tuesday morning at around the same time. Police say shortly after a 4th victim came forward. This complaint was around Union Station. Members of the patrol division then located the suspect. 21-year-old Mayung Ayoung from the city of Utica has been charged with 4 counts of forcible touching. Country music superstar Luke Bryan will be appearing in Central New York tonight. He's going to be in Syracuse, set to perform at the St. Joseph's Health Amphitheater at Lakeview in Syracuse starting at 7 p.m. Bryan is known for several big hits, including Play It Again, Drunk on You, and Drink a Beer. Some seats are still available and can be bought through Live Nation. Now, this is a wire story. These are not my words, Bill. But the New York State Fair is coming up soon.
Do they get paid to write news stories? I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's a full season away. Summer has not officially begun yet.
No, it is not even summer. We haven't even gotten to the 4th of July. We haven't experienced the dog days of summer yet. For God's sakes.
Thanksgiving's just around the corner. Anyway, the New York State Fair is coming up soon, allegedly, and Amtrak will be making it easier for people to attend the event.
Is that really the lead?
The New York State Fair is coming up soon, yep.
Oh, my God.
That's what it says. The rail company is offering direct service to the fairgrounds in Syracuse. Officials say by deciding to take the train, folks will be able to avoid things like parking fees, traffic, and tolls, and save money on gas. Tickets are available right now and can be purchased at Amtrak.com. This year's fair runs from August 23rd, which is a mere 3 months and 1 week away, through September 4th, which is Labor Day.
2 months, technically. 2 and a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, huh?
Yeah. Not to support their story of ridiculousness, but nonetheless.
You're right. The man who was convicted of brutally murdering his roommate in Albany's ordered to spend decades. A judge sentencing 60-year-old Jimmy Lee Allen to 25 years to life behind bars for killing Rodney McLean. Prosecutors say that Allen stabbed McLean to death in their home in Albany last August. He has a long criminal history that includes charges of attempted robbery and sexual assault. And a bit of a hair-raising story in central New York. The State Department of Environmental Conservation is urging people who live in Tully to keep an eye out for bear in the village. The animal was spotted yesterday near Clinton Street. As a precaution, schools nearby decided to keep students indoors.
It is Tully. Let's be honest. You're well upstate, right?
Yeah.
And have you seen the picture of this bear?
No, is it big?
It's a bear, a baby bear they call it, or a cub.
Okay.
A younger bear, but it's big. It's one of the clearest. Look it up online. It's one of the best photos of a bear that I've seen in somebody's, quote, backyard.
Schools in that area decided to keep kids indoors all day and wait until it was time to be busing them home to open up the doors. The DEC says anyone who sees the bear should not approach it, and they should contact animal control immediately. Your WIBX...
I read this story, and I immediately left my house this morning doing this. They say if you bang pots and pans and stuff together, it'll scare the bear away. Now, I apparently woke up everybody in the neighborhood also, but no bear to be found. I was walking to my car this morning.
You got to be gentle with that mic stand, Bill.
Yeah, sorry.
It was
you're
just
right.
newly fixed.
You're right. Sorry.
We do have.
It clearly did not make the sound I wanted it to make. I wanted a clanking sound, and
here we go.
Even that doesn't do it.
Smitty, go grab some pots and pans down the hall.
He's trying to find me a Diet Pepsi in this building.
We had plenty of rain yesterday, but we do have some rain shower chances today. From Eyewitness News, here's what we can expect.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, some drizzle, patchy fog early, then partly sunny, mainly dry, breezy, warmer afternoon, near 75. Tonight, increasing clouds as more showers develop, near 55. Tomorrow, occasional rain and rumbles again. Rain tapers by late afternoon. Generally cloudy, some limited sunny breaks late, a high of 68. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Sorry.
Your forecast brought to you by Country Suburban. Now here's Devin with sports.
Broadcasting from the IBEW Local 43 Sports Desk, I'm Devin Furpa with sports. The Nevada Legislature is approving a bill to help the Oakland Athletics build a $1.5 billion stadium on the Las Vegas Strip.
Are you saying, what is the word?
Legislature.
Yeah.
The bill was approved by the Nevada State Assembly on Wednesday with some minor changes and was approved for the second time by the Senate. The bill includes a $380 million in public funding for the project and still needs the Governor Joe Lombardo's signature for the official approval. MLB owners are expected to authorize the A's move to Las Vegas with a vote on the relocation plan.
Kind of sad. I think that they were thought to be the worst team in baseball. Some are saying this is like the real life version of the movie Major League, because I think they had one of the longest win streaks of any team this year. They won a bunch of games. I'll double check it. I still don't think they're that good, but
how many people were there?
Well, here's the thing. If you go look at video, they actually had a decent crowd the other night in the fifth inning. They started the fifth, where everybody in the stadium stood up for a moment of silence. This was like organized by the fans, and then in unison they started chanting, "Sell the team, sell the team," which is interesting because if you're so mad that they're moving, why would you chant "Sell the team"? Anyway, does it say what they're going to be called when they move to Las Vegas?
No, it doesn't.
It's got to be the Aces, right? You keep the A, and you're the Aces.
That would be awesome,
right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I don't know that that's official. I think right now the plan is they're going to be the Las Vegas Athletics.
I think
make them the Aces.
I like that, but I think they should stay Athletics. There's how do you get rid of the A's? They could still
you're still the A's.
They could still be the A's. I get it. All right. Okay.
All right. The Mets snapped their two-game skid with a come from behind a walk-off win over the Yankees at Citi Field. Brandon Nimmo drove in the game-winning run with an RBI double in the bottom of the 10th inning. Justin Verlander started the game for the Mets and struck out 6 while holding the Yanks to 1 run over 6 innings. Dominic Leone was credited with the victory after striking out 1 batter over a scoreless inning of relief. The Mets are going to be without a member of their pitching staff for a couple weeks. Right-hander Drew Smith was suspended 10 games by Major League Baseball after being ejected from Tuesday night's game following a foreign substance check. Smith came out of the bullpen to start the 7th inning but was ejected before taking the mound. After the game, Smith said he was checked by an MLB official in the tunnel behind the dugout after being ejected and was told there's nothing there. Smith joins Max Scherzer as the second Mets player to be ejected for having a foreign substance on his hand this season.
Yeah, I mean he didn't even get to pitch. Davey's all happy about that. You hate the Mets, man.
No, I
yeah,
don't.
You
I
do.
like the. I don't like the Mets.
Why would you cheer? You be
because
honest.
IKF stole home on you guys and didn't even know.
Yeah. Okay,
that's funny.
All right.
So this is an article from the New York Times here. What the A's fans did the other night, they're calling it a reverse boycott. So I think it's a reverse boycott. So people are going to the games to protest. Okay, they're not going because they want to watch the baseball.
Right.
They're calling it a reverse boycott. The other thing is Jeff Passan, who I believe is with Yahoo Sports. He's a notable ESPN now. He's with. He's talked to the team president, and he said, we've been around since 1901. We're a charter member of the American League. The Athletics are a brand. We've already been in 3 markets. We feel strongly now that the A's are such a powerful brand. It's something we're going to continue with the Las Vegas A's. I think they should call them the Aces. Keep the A.
Listen, I mean, they have history. There's all of that history. There's Reggie Jackson. There's I just think that I am a I like tradition. They're the Athletics. You keep them the Athletics.
Fair enough.
Have an ace. Every time your ace comes out, do some. If he strikes out so many, somebody wins money or something. Play with that all you want, but it should be the Athletics. I agree with that.
It looks like they're going to be moving as soon as next year. Is that what the plan is?
And I just wonder how did Vegas support the NHL team?
They were popular.
That was.
I don't know if they sold out every night, but I mean, it wasn't like fans weren't showing up. The Black Knights or the Golden Knights.
Yeah. Because you think of Vegas as just being such a tourist town, but there are a lot of people that live there. But
yeah.
They have a WNBA team that won the championship last year. And they supported them. Their crowds are phenomenal.
All right. Okay.
I also think too, there's so much money in Vegas. Even if you get like a sponsorship from a casino, I wouldn't be surprised if the casino is like, hey, come to dinner tonight. We'll give you 4 tickets to the A's game. Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, you're good. Did you mention the Mets won last night for Davey?
4-3-10.
Yeah.
4-3-10.
And it was Nimmo with a walk-off double, I believe, right, Davey?
And the Mets used to have their farm team out there before they went to Syracuse.
Vegas.
They were the Las Vegas Zephyrs.
Yeah.
No. They weren't the Zephyrs. No. They were
They were the Las Vegas Zephyrs.
I'll get you the correct answer in a second.
Okay. Okay, we have a lot to get to this hour. Evan Brown coming up in a few minutes with Fox News.
The 51s. They were the area, like the Las Vegas 51s.
They were the Zephyrs before the 51s.
When they were in the Carolinas or something.
The youth rate social media influencers. What is this? Youth rate social media influencers among top sources for news. Well, yeah, because you can't trust the news anymore.
I agree.
I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but, there's been enough out there, deceit, where everybody's got to take a big stop and start looking at themselves in the mirror and be like, why did I get into this? For journalism or to push my agenda? Right?
My silence is agreement. 100,000% agreement.
It's one thing when a talk show host does what a talk show host does. He or she can say whatever they want, right? They can make any claims, give their opinions. But when you're presenting news as fact and you taint the news, and this has happened on both sides, we've got a real problem here. People don't believe it anymore. And, this is no different than 10 years ago when people in the younger demo said, where do you get your news from? And the majority of them said, from The Daily Show. And Jon Stewart came out and said, oh, my God, no, don't do that. I mean, we're an entertainment program. But that's the fact. That's what happened. Let me tell you about anything further. Everybody good? Good. Concrete driveways, concrete sidewalks, Brank Construction. Are you in need of concrete work? Old stone walls need to be repaired. Block walls need to be repaired. Your foundation needs to be repaired. Call Brank Construction, 315-894-3481. All your masonry and concrete needs. 894-3481 for Brank Construction. Quick break. We'll come right back. Evan Brown coming up on WIBX.
What time is it? In the Adirondacks, it's summertime. Old Forge just saw the return of Paddle Fest. Macaulay Mountain hosted the State Scholastic Mountain Bike Championships, and Water Safari is open. This weekend is the Classic Car Show and Father's Day Frog Jump. Or you can just relax and refresh on Main Street, USA, with your favorite stops and some new eateries in Old Forge and Eagle Bay. Come enjoy your Adirondack backyard.
High school graduation is just weeks away. Before you know it, you'll be packing up all of the new things you bought for your dorm room and heading off to college to start your next chapter. More independence, new friends, and new adventures. But wait, have you opened your new campus checking account at Adirondack Bank yet? Adirondack's campus checking has all of the features you're looking for, including no monthly minimum balance requirements, no monthly service charge, electronic and mobile banking capabilities, which is a must for a college student on the go, and up to $15 in ATM withdrawal fees waived per statement cycle. Stop into any of our conveniently located branches today to open your new campus checking account and receive a free gift. Let us help you get off to a great financial start. A minimum deposit of $25 is required at account opening. Member FDIC.
It's hard to know what to do when you lose a loved one. You want to provide a lasting tribute, but you need someone you can trust to help you navigate all the options. Mohawk Valley Monuments has been providing comfort and delivering quality memorials in our community for the last 85 years.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Morgan.
And I'm Nicole Cornacchia Morgan.
Owners of Mohawk Valley Monuments. We pride ourselves in continuing to deliver the highest standards of workmanship and customer service. We strive to make things easier for you while still showing your family the utmost of respect.
Start a conversation about your wishes to help make it even easier on your loved ones. Call us today and we'll get prepared together.
Mohawk Valley Monuments has experience with all the local cemeteries. From simple grave markings to intricate family mausoleums, they give everyone the same personalized service. For expert memorial design, call today, 315-724-7629, or go to mvmonuments.com. Mohawk Valley Monuments, LLC, Old Route 5S, just past the Kitless Restaurant in Frankfort.
Hey, the Move to Mazda sales event is going on right now. Ricky Z says, come on down. You're the next contestant on Buy a Mazda from Me. It's a brand new contest they're doing. Listen, 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months on a new 2023 Mazda CX-30, CX-5, and CX-50. Enjoy 0% APR financing up to 36 months on the new 2023 Mazda CX-9. That is 2.5 years ago, I walked in to tour the new facility, and Rick said, come in, I want you to see, how beautiful it is here, and it was. Turns out, though, I was there a little longer than expected, left my vehicle there, and drove out with a brand-new CX-9. Love the vehicle. The Move to Mazda sales event is going on right now from the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction out of all Mazda dealerships in America. Steep Pawnee Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, it wasn't, as we were just talking about this, it wasn't that long ago, maybe a decade, hard to believe as time travels pretty fast, where young people said, yeah, I get my news from The Daily Show. Shockingly, right? And now there are more people in the younger demo that say there's an influencer on social media where they get their news from. Eben Brown has a story from Fox News. Good morning.
Good morning.
I think I got that right? Do you remember when Jon Stewart had to come out and say, please don't listen to me for the real news because it's the wrong place?
Yeah, or Bill Maher, or
it might have been Bill Maher. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but now we have, and this is a study from the Reuters Institute of Journalism, which is part of the University of Oxford, just found that 55% of TikTok users and 52% of Instagram users get their news, not so much that they get it on those platforms, but that they get it from personalities on those platforms. So, for instance, we here at Fox News, we've got radio, we've got television, we've got a website. We also have our social media accounts. But people are not necessarily, these people are not necessarily finding us on the social media. They're finding these personalities who then they rely on to be informed on various things. Now, that's not a crime or anything like that because everyone's got the right to, this country anyway, First Amendment right and all that stuff. And with a smartphone, it's become very easy and affordable to become your own broadcasting network. But the problem is that a lot of these folks who just simply have started up dictating things to their vast followers is that they are not necessarily trained or accustomed or practiced in doing journalism. And
right.
That kind of sounds a bit lofty, and I want to say that it really isn't, except for the fact that there's good ways of doing this and not so good ways of doing this. And here's a great, for instance, just from the other day. I was out in front of the Miami federal courthouse with the Trump arraignment stuff, and there was one guy who's a popular social media person. He streams a lot, and he's out there talking, and he's going on a rant about how the justice system took the Trump-appointed judge off the case, and now Trump is going to be in front of this other judge, and why are they out to get him? And well, that wasn't true what happened.
Right.
The justice, the federal district court judge, Eileen Cannon, who is Trump-appointed, who will be overseeing the case, wasn't going to be doing the first appearance because first appearances in the Southern District of Florida are often handled by the magistrate judges.
Right.
And so there was no nefarious thing going on. It was actually business as usual. But this person who really is not experienced as a journalist, it wouldn't have a staff of people to help him research this, and was going off of emotion. Well, there you go.
Yeah, and it's also sometimes I feel like things are done, and maybe the established media, the mainstream media. I guess that's a bad word, but maybe the established media does it as well. But clickbait. I mean, a lot of times these people are saying things that they know might not necessarily be true, but there isn't an organization over them to hold them accountable.
I mean, that's part of it. Part of it is clickbait. Clickbait comes from the desire to try to get eyes on your product. But when it kind of crosses the line into being untruthful or misleading, and yes, that's a big problem too. But what happens is, I think, especially with younger people, who, if you're 25 years old, you don't remember a time really without social media. And I don't think that they're savvy consumers of news. And that's another problem. They don't have the ability to watch this stuff and go, well, maybe that's not exactly what's happening.
Although I call my son, who's 28, Mr. Rabbit Hole. He'll chase it all right deep down into the rabbit hole and try to do his own investigating. I think there are kids out there that do that. But when you're, it's so easy to just to see a headline or to see something on social media and say, this is a fact. Can you believe this is happening? However, and I think you've alluded to this, where this sounds a bit lofty, is what you said. I remember when I could not believe Chris Cuomo, when he was on CNN, said, we're reporters. If you're not a reporter, you're not entitled to this information. Whoa,
wrong.
That's just wrong.
See, now I don't like that because, look, here's how you be a reporter. You listen to what someone says, and then you tell the next guy, and you get it right.
Yes.
That's kind of all it is. Most people actually do this in their daily lives. Hey, did you hear what Mary said?
Right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But doing it professionally over and over again, getting it right, seeking to get it right, saying, hearing what Mary said and going, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. Mary, did you mean this? Oh, okay. Right. All right. And okay, so then when you go tell Paul, you're getting what Mary said properly. That's journalism, really. That's kind of it. And you don't need a special license to do that. We have ways of getting it done so that we're professionals about it. So we have to translate it quickly and whatnot. But, most people getting on a stream by themselves, they don't necessarily have the resources or the experience.
We do, I guess, have a special license. It's called the First Amendment, right?
Well, I'm just saying everyone's got
I completely understand. But
the only other problem is that we don't necessarily know who all these streamers are. And on a platform like TikTok, which is owned and operated by the Chinese government, essentially, it gets risky.
And Evan, I would not to throw more into this story, but it's about to get worse with artificial intelligence because
I think that's the other fear is that with the generative AI, the ability to create very realistic looking photos and video, you can begin to influence people in a very dishonest way.
The one where you see Trump being dragged away in an arraignment in New York City, it looks so real. Until you really look at it, and you're like, but if they can do that now, what are they going to be able to do in 10, 20 years? But I want to make two very quick points. Very important to listen to the news, watch the news, then go do your research, and you can find really established opinions out there that you can trust, and you maybe need 3 or 4 of them to kind of find something in the middle. And the other part is we here completely respect and have Fox News Radio for a reason. Fox News Radio is all about journalism, and to me,
we appreciate you.
Very important. Yep.
Well, thank you so much, guys. We appreciate the support. We try our best.
All right, Evan Brown, thank you. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care.
Thanks. Did you want to add
two thoughts? Chris Cuomo, that he is a reporter. Yeah, right.
What angered me is that it was so elitist, and this must have been 8 years ago that he said that.
Wait, Cuomo was elitist?
But that's so not true. And what he was trying to say was what Evan Brown just said, and was able to kind of show, be careful what we say is that, that we don't want to come off sounding elitist. Everyone has the right to this information. In fact, when it comes to foiling, you don't have to be a member of the media to foil something. Anyone can foil it.
So, and can I also throw something I didn't think about until we just discussed this? Because Evan said, reporting, so much of it involves accurately and honestly conveying what happened, repeating what somebody said, not putting your spin on it, not interpreting it for them or for the audience, just reporting what they said. I actually think that could be one of the best things about AI. You take the human bias, influence, emotion out of it, and just convey what happened, not your spin on it, not your perception, not your own life experience. Just tell me what happened, bare minimum facts. I wonder if we can rely on AI for that.
I have to say that was it Monday we had Rome Labs in?
Yes.
And Mr. Haydick, who said when we were talking about quantum computing, how we got to be careful because the media's kind of gone wild. The story's gone wild. Expectations have just exploded. Fears have exploded. The same thing has happened with artificial intelligence. So we're only focusing on the nefarious things that could be done.
Yes.
But there are unbelievable positive things that could be done with this. That's really what you're talking about.
Yes.
You could then very quickly research something and come up with the proper conclusion and come up with the facts versus, just think about how easy it is for a reporter today or a regular person to be able to really dig deep. Now, I know there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. You can find an opposing side to even a math equation, it seems, today.
Yeah.
But when you really dig deep, you can find the truth. And not everybody does that. Sometimes you're going to get a lot more views and clicks if you just run with the story that you run with. The other part of this is there's a reason why in a news story it says police say. Statement, comma, according to police.
Yeah.
It's because the radio or TV station giving you that story is not the one giving that quote. That is a quote from police. You then can believe it or not believe it, think the person is guilty or not guilty.
Yeah, how many times is somebody found not guilty? Very often. And how often is somebody initially charged with something and then that charge is then lowered or dropped altogether?
Yeah, I found just one of those yesterday, in fact. There was a story that I was working on, and the person had just recently been arrested. And then I found 5 years ago he was also arrested for a rape charge. But when you dug deeper, you found another story from it. This was a local story, a quote from Scott McNamara, where they had their investigators at the DA's office had dug deep and found that the claim of rape was a false claim, and the person was found to be not guilty, and the charges were dropped. But you could have easily just grabbed that story because it still lingers out there.
Yep.
And not everybody updates those stories. So I don't know. That's what we do.
Yeah, I guess, I'm looking at the other side of the coin now. That's my hope for AI. There's no opinion. There's no bias there, or at least it could be programmed as such. And then from AI to just A. I want to follow up on something I said during sports about the Oakland A's, currently the Oakland A's, soon to be the Las Vegas A's. There was some hope that they would be like the movie Major League, like the team is looking to move, and we're going to make it the worst team ever, so there's no objection to us moving. The A's clearly have the worst record in baseball at 19-51. However, they were just on a 7-game winning streak, which is among the I don't know if the Mets have had a 7-game winning streak this year. They had a 7-game winning streak, and last night,
I think we had 6.
They lost to the Tampa Bay Rays, which have the best record in all of baseball. But they had the A's won last night, it would have been an 8-game winning streak and a 3-game sweep of the best team in baseball.
Wow.
So that's where the hype has come over the past week for the A's.
And I think they're living off all this hype and controversy.
The reverse boycott stuff.
The reverse boycott. Mike this morning says AI is like a new hammer. You can either build a house with it or hit someone over the head with it. That is a great way of putting it. All right, we're going to do, Davey, are you ready? So this morning we have a mayoral candidate in, but not a debate. Because I don't believe we're getting anywhere with the debate, right, in this case? Is this a candidate can we take one more shot at this candidate to be able to say, are you going to let us do this without you, or do we do it with you? Anyway, we have a mayoral candidate coming in. And, Davey, we have a free money question of the day. I am just I can't believe that we gave away in the last 2 weeks. We've given away, 3 winners of $100. We had 3 winners of $100. Yesterday, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to give away 200 of Hobica's dollars. What I can't believe is I went through the entire day yesterday and did not hear from Hobica. Now, one could say, well, he's mad and he's giving you the silent treatment. No. That's not Joe. So, let's see if I can get reaction out of him today.
You're just
Davey,
so generous with everyone else's money.
Today, Davey, our jackpot and the free money question of the day is up to $300 today. 300 of Hobica's dollars. Yeah, right?
300 beans.
Your chance to win $300, but let's make it a lofty caller number 10. Is that fair?
Sure.
So, for $300, I'm 10 to 1, Hobica's number 10. For $300, be caller number 10 right now at 315-736-0186. Hobica's free money question of Hobica's jumbo free money question of the day is next on WIBX.
From screen printing and embroidery to promotional products and online shops, it's all under one new roof at Max's Print Shop in Marcy. Order anytime and any quantity in person or online at maxsprintshop.com. Since 1978, we pride ourselves on personally meeting every customer's need. We can take your project from design to production. And remember, Max's Print Shop will stitch anything. And we mean anything in the Utica, Rome area. Find us at 9555 River Road in Marcy or online at maxsprintshop.com.
Hi, this is Rob Hilton of Hilton Estate and Elder Law with important information that you should know regarding your estate planning. Specifically, you should have prepared what is known as the Big Three. Basic estate planning is comprised of the 3 main documents that you need. First is the will, next is the healthcare proxy, and last is the power of attorney. What most people don't know is how important of the 3 the power of attorney really is, because New York State has no simple method for you to act on another's behalf if they become incapacitated. I am often asked, what is probate and why is it needed? Probate is the act of administering the will through the New York State court system. It requires a filing fee and other actions to be taken as well as a petition to be filed. It is time-consuming and can be expensive. It can be avoided by using a living trust. To find out more about strategies to protect your loved ones through proper estate planning, contact us at Hilton Estate and Elder Law. Call for more information and to schedule an in-person meeting to answer your questions.
Hilton, you know the name. They know the law. Hilton Estate and Elder Law.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password,
for you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to lifelock.com.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home select BX Series equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800, now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Log on or give us a call today at WhitesFarmSupply.com.
White's Farm Supply. Hi, Joe Carbone. Welcome to Power Sports of Utica. $1,500 rebates on jet skis. $2,000 off of Kawasaki KX models. We're moving out the 23 models for the 24s. Bike night, June 16th. Plenty of cold refreshments. Hi, I'm Joe Carbone. Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. 50% off of all footwear. 40% off of all camp chairs, table sets. Buy one, get one, 75% off of hoodies. Bike night, June 16th. Plenty of cold refreshments.
Hey, I want to tell you about Sal and everybody at Sarah's Flooring Outlet. It is the area's leading flooring store for all things that are flooring. If you're adding carpet or linoleum, or you're adding tile, hardwoods, Pergo Extreme by Mohawk, there's no better place than in Sarah's Flooring Outlet. Hardwoods in our home we had installed by Sarah's. They did a tremendous job. Great service. A craftsman. Literally a craftsman came in to install our hardwood floors, and they're beautiful. He did just an incredible job. Maybe you're not looking for hardwood, but you're looking for something that looks that way. The best product out there is Pergo Extreme by Mohawk. Deeper protection, superior wear layer, and layered construction. We're talking 100% debt-proof, waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. It's a great product, and the best price you're going to get anywhere is at Sarah's Flooring Outlet, where they have the 60-mile price guarantee. 60-mile radius of their store, a guaranteed price. You can see why people buy from the big store. Get 6 months interest-free financing right now at Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and always online at sarahsflooringoutlet.com. The largest inventory in all of Central New York. Davey, it's in Sarah's Flooring Outlet.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, sing along. Let's give away Obika's money. We're at $300, the jumbo free money question of the day. It's the jumbo free money question of the day. And on the line right now is Dave in New Hartford. Hello, Dave. Good morning.
Good morning.
You ready, Dave?
I'm ready.
Okay. $300 on the line. All right, let's do this thing and let's get it right. Are you ready to go? Davey, Jeff, everybody's ready. We've got a lot of money on the line. This is $300. Obika's shaking in his boots. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here is your question. This comes from, by the way, each question we give, I don't know if you know this, Dave, we have a category. And it's down the hallway. It's a giant filing cabinet. And inside that cabinet, there are categories. This comes from the Mike Hennessy category. The Mike Hennessy category. Are you ready?
You know, he's going to think that we actually have a folder about him.
Here we go. Here we go.
We don't.
Here it is, Dave. And you might know this, hopefully, off the top of your head. Here's your question. Quantum Computer Services eventually became this company. Ready, go. What company did it become?
Quantum computers. I don't know.
Anybody have this here? You might have a disc at home in a little tin box that came from Quantum Computer Services, which eventually developed into another big-time company. It was the first place we went.
DVD? No.
Quantum Computer Services became America Online.
Get out.
AOL. You've got mail. That's what it became.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, Mike, I have a feeling tomorrow we're just going to build off today's jackpot. I just feel like that could happen.
Tomorrow's Radiothon, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it'll be hard to do it over there. We'll figure it out. We are going to give you, we have tickets for tomorrow night is lacrosse. Is it tomorrow night?
Yes, the Utica Yeti.
Utica Yeti will give you a pair of tickets to that, or maybe a 4-pack of tickets. I don't know. Utica All-in-One Food and Fun Cards, a $25 gift card. Go to Aquavino, Babes, 72 Tavern and Grill, Taylor and the Cook, and the ABC, Adirondack Bank Center concession stand. David, stand by. Davey's going to fill you in on what you got, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dave. We'll see if tomorrow or Monday brings a better jackpot. Davey, take care of David.
So this is by the way, the Yeti are home tomorrow, but this is a voucher. So you can go to a regular season game. So if you can't make tomorrow, you can go to a future game.
You could use any game. Yeah. Well, I put it in the Mike Hennessy category because it involves quantum computing, and that was always a big thing for him to talk about.
Yeah, well, Mike's going to call me today, and he's going to go, you guys have a whole folder on me?
Yeah,
you have
we
a
do.
file?
We do.
We don't.
It's our quantum file. America Online. And, boy, those were the days when you actually – they had categories, if you remember. You'd pick a category, and that would take you through the web. It would be our experience, and maybe it was food and fun. And you'd click on the category, and you'd have all these stories. But then at the very bottom in fine print, it said, go to the World Wide Web. And that was dangerous. You didn't know where you were going with that. But you clicked on that, and you realized there's a world out here well beyond what we're getting in their confined rooms, if you will, and compartments on America Online. Do you remember any of this? You probably don't.
I do. I do remember America
By the way,
Online.
America Online would be when you would yell, who picked up the phone? You just knocked me off the...
Yes. I do remember that.
Because it was all on a modem.
It was, and we had like one of those giant. It was almost like a TV stand, but it was a computer stand, right? And it was like a desk with a rack on it with several shelves. So you put some family photos up there. Maybe the newest version of AOL in a plastic case would be up there, and it was essentially email and very, very, very slow by comparison web browsing.
It was slow.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I used to get that was back at the beginning of these prep services when they went online. So you'd get all this information on when you go in the morning for your radio show. You'd have and I'd get like 15, 16 pages of just material that you could use the next morning. And it was amazing. I was getting it on my home computer at home. This was in the late 80s, early 90s. And it would take me 10, 12 minutes to download that 20, 30 pages of text. No pictures, text. That was the old days. It's certainly not. If something takes you longer than 5 seconds, you're going in the other direction. Do we have this mayoral candidate in? Or we
not
don't?
yet. No,
okay.
not yet.
I'll keep moving. This weekend is Father's Day. And if you're not prepared as of yet, you might want to think about it. Do you know I found in Utica, there's a business where you can. This might have been 2 years ago. I brought a company on from Rochester, and they fixed iPads. So if your iPad goes, there's a good chance you're going to take it to the Apple store or call up Apple, and they're going to tell you, "I'm sorry, this thing is we won't fix this," and you're screwed. You have an in one case, I have an old iPad that was probably 6 months old. 8 months old, and it was just out of warranty, so it was older than 6 months. But it had been about a year and a half. The thing went, done. They couldn't repair it. There is a company down on the busy corner on Genesee Street in Utica, and I'm sure there are others around. But I actually went to them yesterday. They can fix your iPad.
An iPad's like a tablet? Is that
Yeah,
you're talking
iPad.
about? Okay.
Yeah.
For some
They can
reason,
fix
I'm
a computer.
thinking of iPod.
No,
the iPad
well,
is a tablet.
They probably might be able to do that, too.
Okay.
But here's another thing they can do. You break the screen on your phone, and it could be an Android, could be an iPhone, whatever you have. They'll fix it down there. This is not a commercial. It's just a place I found.
Yeah, I think I took
Apple
a phone
Watch.
there. Yeah.
Crack your Apple Watch. They can fix it. Just an idea for Father's Day. Liberal Lou on because you never, right? I mean, maybe instead of getting something new, you fix something old, and they can do it. Here's Liberal Lou on the line now. Lou, Mr. Liberal, good morning. They call they call you Liberal Lou around here, Lou.
Illegitimate sources of news for people. Everything he said was, of course, correct, but he failed to mention the elephant in the room. So this is not a new phenomena. Look right to sources at Fox News, like Tucker Carlson, the Sean Hannitys, the Judge Piro's. I mean, these people have been the singular source of news for millions of Republicans for the last 20-plus years. Not to mention, the AM radio talkers.
Well, but you can't count like a hold on, Lou. You can't count like a Rush Limbaugh because he was a personality. He's still talking.
Just to show you that lying on their shows is what it's all about. Feeding the folks the red meat, telling them the news they want to hear, not the facts.
But can I ask you, Lou? Don't you feel? First of all, what they did on the election being stolen, and then the fact that the election machine, the voting machine companies, what they did, and they found out in their lawsuit is that they knew it wasn't true, but they still promoted it as if it was true. That's terrible. What they did was absolutely wrong. You are correct, but they're not the only ones out there that have given I think Trump actually labeled it fake news. There's a lot of people that are guilty of this on both sides of the aisle, if you will.
No, it's only the right. It's only the right.
Well, there are people on the left, but look, the AM radios are talkers are liars. The people on the Fox News, the names I mentioned, they're lying liars. If you can focus on somebody on the left who is doing the same type of thing, then their names should be brought out. Please bring out their names.
Here. Let me say this to you, please. Please, can I just say? Can I?
Not even close.
No.
Definitely. Now, and MSNBC. Do they give you the full story all the time? No, absolutely not. You're not going to get the full story, but they don't just blatantly lie. And when they are faced with a lie that they have told, they will come out and say, "I have given incorrect facts." Look, Fox.
Can you find me one clip online where they say that? Can you find me one clip?
Lied about the war in Iraq. Massive lies. These are huge issues.
Okay.
And these lies are incredible. They're equal to the lies about Trump's stolen election.
Okay, stop for a second. Stop. I have another guest in studio. I got to take it. I'm just going to say this to you. I agree with you. It is the reason the Fox News thing is more damaging is because Fox's audience is so enormous. MSNBC is a drop in the bucket compared to the Fox audience. That's why this is more significant. However, I do. Let me finish because I got to let you go.
Playing in Fox News. When Roger Ailes took over Fox News, he said, "I have two purposes."
I understand. I get all that. I don't want to rehash this. Just listen to me for 1 second. The other part of this is that when you talk about AM radio and a Rush Limbaugh or a Brian Kilmeade, they are editorialists. They are editorializing. They're giving their opinion. They are not news people. That's the difference. It's important for us to differentiate between news and editorial. But
they've got them believing that he's innocent of his recent crimes. So you can't compare. MSNBC's there to make money. Number one, they have conservatives on MSNBC. Morning Joe, their most popular show, is a conservative Republican. They've had other conservatives on, and they continue. It's not a propaganda channel. It's there to make money. It's NBC. It's a corporation.
Understood. I understand. And with that said, you want to call back next hour? Feel free, but I got to go right now, though, okay?
Okay, go right ahead. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And Lou is correct. NBC is not a corporation. It's definitely not. Actually, that's not what he said. He said it's different because Fox is a corporation. NBC is not a corporation. And Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, the people who for years, and again, I'm not defending Trump.
Again, differentiate between someone who is editorializing and someone who is delivering a newscast. There are two different things, and they have to be judged differently. But
Hannity's not an anchor, a news anchor.
I didn't say he was. Hannity's
I'm talking about Lou.
Hannity editorializes.
Yeah, and so does the one he mentioned, Tucker.
Rush Limbaugh, Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, those aren't news people. Those are opinion hosts.
And so is Rachel Maddow. She's not a news person. In studio right now, she is also not a news person.
She wants to be the mayor person, though.
A candidate for mayor of Utica. She's a Democrat and Celeste Friend. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Okay.
Nice to be here.
When I asked the two Republican candidates yesterday if they were not in the race, and if there was somebody else they would vote for other than themselves if they weren't in the race, I thought one of the votes was going to be for you, but neither bit. They actually said each other. So I thought maybe Celeste would get a vote.
And I did question the answers. I just said, is that a political answer, a strategic answer, or is that an honest answer?
Everybody would vote for me if they had the chance.
We don't know.
Come on.
Okay. You're
Come
here.
on. Good morning.
You're here today. You've been on the program several times.
Not lately, and I started to really miss you.
The reason you've been on the program several times is because you would have been on here every day if we let you.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I like this. This is fun.
But you asked for a regular every week, and I said, no, we don't do that. But it ended up pretty close to regular because you would reach out to Jeff and you'd get on the show.
Well, I was thinking about that if I'm the mayor. If as mayor, I'd like to come on once
a
week or regularly or something like that.
Is your opponent, Mr. DeBrango, we have reached out to him more than once, would you say?
Yeah, Frank's kind of said in so many words, yeah, I'm not interested in going on your show. And as a matter of fact, that might even be an exact quote.
Well, I'm willing to do the empty chair thing next week if he doesn't come on.
Let's do it.
I'm sorry. He owes it to the constituency in Utica to come on, and I hope he does. He'd get a fair shake, just like the two of them did yesterday. We're not looking for some sort of a bombshell thing. I'm not looking to any of that stuff. This is totally a service to the voters in Utica. And I'll be willing to do it as far as late as next week if you are willing to do it.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that.
Otherwise, you get free reign. You can say whatever you want.
Here's the thing, and I've said this from the beginning. I continue to think it's true, that one of the most important things a mayor does is to communicate. Now, a lot of that communication is directed at the city, right? So you're meeting with neighborhoods, meeting with constituents. What do you want? What's working? What's not working? What do you need? What are we doing that, and you talk to people, you listen to people. You have, live town hall in-person meetings. You send out a newsletter. And you go on the radio, right? Now, a lot of that, again, is about reaching out to the citizens of the city itself. But it's also about presenting yourself to the wider world. And in my view, it's a really essential quality of a good mayor that person be able to open a Pepsi bottle without straining quite so much, Bill.
I finally got it open.
There you go. Just think of all the calories you burned opening that Pepsi bottle.
That's really good.
That was good.
Actually, you lose weight drinking Diet Pepsi.
That's right. So I just think that communication both to the city but also to the wider world. And I think one of the things that has become very obvious throughout this campaign, and I'm just talking about myself versus my Democratic opponent, is that I am the better communicator. Not just with the people of Utica, but also who do you want representing our beautiful, lovely city to everybody else? I think it's me.
I feel also that people can call in. You have a question, you can either text it in through our app or however you get us your questions, or call in 315-736-0186. I want to ask you it looks a little foolish to me. I'm going to be honest. It looks a little foolish that we passed this thing, the Common Council passed this thing banning bike lanes on Genesee Street all the way to New Hartford. What happened?
So foolish, embarrassing. I mean, and
what was the final vote?
In the end, so first of all, the legislation got amended in a way that is itself extremely problematic.
No, I fixed it.
Okay, thank you.
So the legislation got amended in a way that's really problematic. And then in the end, Katie Aiello, Venice Irvin, and myself voted against the ordinance, and everybody else voted for it. It's actually quite confusing what they voted for. Also, the extent of the amendments seem to make it a new ordinance, and we do have council rules that you cannot pass an ordinance the first time it comes out on the floor unless you pass it unanimously. So it's not at all clear to me that it was legal. And this was Mr. DeBrango's amendment, my opponent, to extend the travel lane to 16 feet wide, right? Which is, and to do that, it's not even clear when you read the legislation, all the way to Oneida Circle, but then to also ban bike lanes all the way to the New Hartford line.
Even, I have to say,
it was very embarrassing. It was a very dysfunctional meeting.
Even your Republican opponent, Mike Galimi, described it yesterday as being ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was beyond ridiculous. There was no sort of consideration for basic safety. So one of the things to remember about the complete streets, and I think I've said this from the beginning, the most important thing that we did was to reduce the number of travel lanes from 4 to 3. That's really, called a road diet, and that's the most essential thing that we did. That happened to make enough space for bike lanes, so the bike lanes were sort of like an add-on or a bonus.
That is a bike lane then?
Not right now. No. Mr. DeBrango has banned bike lanes in the city of Utica.
But there is like a 2-foot lane.
It's an inmate escape safe zone, Bill. I've told you 3 times already.
It's actually quite a bit wide. It was almost like 5 feet, which was beautiful because it meant that you could open your car. You park at you parallel park.
So, but I'm going back to the point though. You have called that is a bike lane because when Katie Aiello came on, she said it's not a bike lane.
It wasn't legally designated as a bike lane. But it's a bike lane. It's a lane in which people could bike. Okay. It's also a lane in which people could open their car doors safely when parallel.
I am a somersaultist, and I would like to use that to do somersaults. It's not a somersault lane. It's a bike lane.
I just want to say somersaults. I want you to wear something on your head because you're going to get a lot of asphalt.
Yeah, but I can do it without actually, believe it or not, without actually touching me.
Oh, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I am impressed.
Well, I used to be able to. Okay.
But what happened the other night was absolutely ridiculous.
Here's the crazy thing about
unsafe.
this. It's been banned now, but it's still there. What are we going to paint?
Yeah, why would the city ban something and then also provide new paint to stripe the road and it's there?
And are we going to pay to have it removed or painted over?
Well, actually, I've only heard this word of mouth, so I haven't heard it directly from the man himself. but that the mayor is absolutely not going to be painting things in order to grind them down later. So, because that's expensive, right? Because you can put down paint and then you can grind it off if you want to do a different pattern.
I'm just
so the whole thing
with
is
this.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too, absolutely. But here's the thing: all the legislation that they passed without Katie and Venice and myself on whatever that was, Tuesday afternoon, was done without any consideration of basic safety. 16-foot wide lanes, which explicitly Mr. DeBrango worked into the legislation, is just patently, crazily unsafe. So, and this is the man who would like to be our public safety commissioner. It's
so
embarrassing.
Is he saying that that he would be the public safety commissioner?
Yes, he will appoint himself as the public safety commissioner.
Okay.
He said that?
Oh, yes, over and over. He has said it several times, last night included.
See, this is where I wish he was on the air and he could defend himself.
I'll reach out to him as soon as the show's over again.
He should have the opportunity to defend himself.
Big fan of all incumbent politicians, Lance and Lee. Tell Celeste if she was actually listening and communicating with Uticans, Genesee Street would still be 4 lanes. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure that that's true. I think that there are a lot of people who like the road diet. Second of all, not everything is simply going to be put up to a popularity vote. There are issues of basic safety. So here's who we did listen. First of all, we did listen to people. There was a survey, and it was slightly more in favor of the road diet than against it. I think that the survey wasn't conducted in a way that gave you a really accurate look, but nonetheless, it was slightly more in favor than against. Also, here's who we listened to. The State Department of Transportation, which came to a meeting, Linda Luby, the regional director, and said, what you have done is safer. C&S Engineering, an independent, privately owned engineering firm with whom the city contracts to do various kinds of traffic studies. Hey, you guys, this thing you did, it's safer. Our own engineering department, who said it is safer. And last but not least, our police department, who reported that when you compare the trial period to the period 1 year prior, so you have the same sort of periods of time, we saw a 22% reduction in traffic accidents on that part of Genesee.
Some blocks it was up. You say
overall. I'm going to interrupt on this.
Overall, in a very short stretch.
Because I have a news break I have to hit. Let's do you on the other side of news. I'll move some things around to give you some extra time. Pacenti coming up next hour as well on WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
There's another runner on the road to the White House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, has filed the paperwork to join the 2024 Republican race. Last month, Suarez told the Fox News Rundown podcast, we need a new generational leader.
I think it's got to be someone who has a positive vision for the future. There's so much division and negativity in our country. It's tearing us apart. What do our enemies want? They want us to be divided.
But one of his fellow Republicans, who used to be Miami-Dade County mayor, is a no.
I will never support Francis Suarez. I think that he is a complete fraud.
It's Congressman Carlos Jimenez who tells Fox Suarez supported Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden.
So in what universe will a person that's voted that way in the past is going to get the Republican nomination?
Senate Republicans want a special counsel to investigate President Biden over bribery allegations detailed that an FBI document involving a Ukrainian businessman from when he was vice president.
According to White House logs reviewed by Fox News Digital, Hunter Biden attended a holiday party on December 12, 2015, hosted by his dad, then Vice President Joe Biden. It also revealed several of Hunter's Burisma business partners came to that White House the same day.
Fox's Brooke Singman, the president calls it all malarkey. In New York City,
the Manhattan DA is expected to formally announce 24-year-old Daniel Penny's indictment later this morning. Penny has been out on a $100,000 bond after initially being charged by Manhattan prosecutors for second-degree manslaughter in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer, a Marine veteran. Penny claims he put Neely in a chokehold without intending to kill him after the homeless black man threatened him and other passengers on a subway train in May. Actress Glenda Jackson has died. She was a British movie star in the 1960s and 70s who achieved a rare acting triple crown. Jackson won 2 Oscars, 3 Emmys, and a Tony Award. Then later was elected to be a British member of Parliament. Glenda Jackson was 87. America's listening to Fox News.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting America's heroes and their families since September 11, 2001, like the family of Franklin, Tennessee police officer Jeffrey Carson. He left a successful country music career behind to serve his community. Then he lost his life in the line of duty. Tunnel to Towers helped his wife and son by paying off their mortgage. Help support hero families like the Carsons. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
We have mostly cloudy skies, 56 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by Cliff's Local Market. They keep you going. Utica police making an arrest following several complaints in downtown Utica. This happened on Tuesday morning. Utica police received complaints about a man approaching women as they were walking up to their vehicles, beginning conversations with them, and then groping, grabbing, or trying to grab them. Upon defending themselves, the male then left the area. 3 separate victims called police to report this on Tuesday, and then at around 9 a.m., a 4th victim contacted police from Union Station and said a male matching the same description had cornered her in an elevator and forcibly touched her as well. She was able to defend herself, and the man then left. Utica police have made an arrest. They've charged 21-year-old Mayung Ayung with 4 counts of forcible touching. Country music superstar Luke Bryan will be in Syracuse tonight. Bryan is set to perform at the St. Joseph's Health Amphitheater at Lakeview in Syracuse starting at 7 p.m. Bryan is known for several big hits like Play It Again, Drunk on You, and Drink a Beer. Some seats are still available for tonight's concert. They can be purchased through Live Nation. Authorities in Tully, the State Department of Environmental Conservation, urging people who live there to keep an eye out for a stray bear in the village. The animal was spotted yesterday near a business on Clinton Street. As a precaution, schools nearby decided to keep students indoors until it was time for them to head home at the end of the day. The DEC says anyone who sees the bear shouldn't approach it and needs to contact animal control immediately. And the New York State Fair is more than 2 months away. And Amtrak will be making it easier for you to attend the event. The rail company is offering direct service to the fairgrounds in Syracuse. Officials say by deciding to take the train, you'll avoid long lines, parking fees, traffic, and tolls, and save some money on gas. Tickets are available right now and can be purchased at Amtrak.com. This year's fair is set to run from August 23rd through September 4th. Is there a mayoral candidate in Utica who is behind on property taxes and other bills?
Are we going down that road right here?
Well, no, that'll be coming up. That was my tease.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We're talking with Celeste Friend, and she'll have an answer for that in just 1 second. This is First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX. Your forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, some drizzle, patchy fog early, then partly sunny, mainly dry, breezy, warmer afternoon, near 75. Tonight, increasing clouds as more showers develop, near 55. Tomorrow, occasional rain and rumbles again. Rain tapers by late afternoon. Generally cloudy, some limited sunny breaks late, a high of 68. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Cloudy skies, 58 degrees. Here's Devin with sports.
Hold on. I got to figure out which mic you're on. Now I got you.
Broadcasting from the IBEW Local 43 Sports Desk, I'm Devin Furbo with sports. The Nevada legislator is approving a bill to help the...
All right. We have to...
Legislature.
Think of it there's a CH there. Legislature. Legislature.
The legislator is the person, and the legislature
right.
is the
And I don't even know why your mic's not on, but okay, let's start over. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Devin, what's your last name again?
Furbo.
Here he is.
The Nevada legislature is approving a bill to help the Oakland Athletics build a $1.5 billion stadium
in our schools today
on the Las Vegas Strip. The bill was approved by the Nevada State Assembly on Wednesday with some minor changes and was approved for a second time by the Senate. The bill includes a $380 million in public funding for the project and still needs the Governor Joe Lombardo's signature for the official approval. MLB owners are expected to authorize the A's move to Las Vegas with a note on the relocation plan. The Mets snapped their two-game skid with a come-from-behind walk-off win over the Yankees at Citi Field. Brandon Nimmo drove in the game-winning run with an RBI double in the bottom of the 10th inning. Justin Verlander started the game for the Mets and struck out 6 while holding the Yanks to 1 run over 6 innings. Dominic Leone was credited with the victory after striking out 1 batter over a scoreless inning of relief. The Mets are going to be without a member of their pitching staff for a couple of weeks. Right-hander Drew Smith was suspended 10 games by Major League Baseball after being ejected from Tuesday night's game following a foreign substance check. Smith came out of the bullpen to start the 7th inning but was ejected before taking the mound after the game. Smith said he was checked by an MLB official in the tunnel behind the dugout after being ejected and was told there's nothing there. Smith joins Max Scherzer as the second Mets player ejected for having a foreign substance on his hand this season. I'm Devin Furbo with sports at WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Okay. Thank you, Devin.
So did you hear that that one part in there? Did it say after he was ejected, after he was ejected, not objected, he was ejected, and an MLB official said, after looking at his hands, there's nothing here.
Yeah, in the tunnel afterward. There was nothing.
Yeah, and that's what they were arguing at that point. I could not believe they did that, and he said there was. These problem is they've thrown so many new rules at these umpires. They're making them do so many different things. They're all getting screwed up. I don't think it's nefarious. I just think it's a screw up. He never should have been ejected from the game.
Say it with me, guys. Umpires are people too.
Umpires are people too.
Thank you, Celeste.
Okay, I want to keep things moving here because we have the county executive coming in a few minutes, and Celeste Friend is in. We have invited her opponent next week for a debate. We hope that happens. Also, we have invited Mr. Lanigan and Mayor Izzo in for a debate. Mayor Izzo has accepted. Lanigan's going to have to work out his schedule. Otherwise, I'm doing an empty chair in here for both of these cases. So questions will be asked. You'll have, like you do right now, you'll have the opportunity to do it on your own. They're either going to make time for us or they don't get the time and you do. But because you're sitting here, we're also going to ask you questions and grill you on things that, like
I'm
taxes.
Ready. I'm
if
ready.
you're ready, we'll get to it. First, though, Harmony is on. This is Harmony Special on with a question for you. Harmony, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Okay, you're on
Nice
with
to hear you this morning.
Celeste Friend. You're on with Celeste. Go ahead.
Hi, Celeste. I don't think we've ever met, but it's good to see you on. There's in 2022, 70% of all drug-related deaths were a cause of fentanyl-laced street drugs. I'm wondering, because now there's a new spike in the area and abroad, as a matter of fact. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this. I know that there's fentanyl strips being distributed, and at least in Catholic charities. I know that if you ask your doctor, you could actually get a prescription for Narcan. I believe that every family should have this in their home. Everyone should have this in their home. Slocum Dixon had reported to me when I was in there for an appointment a couple weeks ago that there was a patient there that had become unresponsive just in the waiting room. Wow. So they went down and administered the Narcan and saved her life. It's unfortunate for people who are using.
What is a fentanyl strip, by the way?
So you can.
I don't know what that is.
It's funny because
is it test for fentanyl?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a drug, which is not a good thing, but if you have drugs, you can put some of them on this test strip, and it'll let you know if there's fentanyl.
And
present.
Catholic Charities has those.
Yeah, and we're actually going to talk to the county executive about this also.
They have some, giveaways and hand sanitizer and whatnot. Right along with that is test strips for fentanyl. But the scary thing is, though, guys, back when I was in the legislature, I legislated the banning of synthetic drugs right before Obama came out with it. That was a while back. There's this synthetic drugs going around. So we're talking about this one thing with the xylitol, or I can't pronounce it. And then there's the fentanyl now. But there's also synthetic fentanyl that they can't even test for.
Right.
And it's not only being, added to cocaine, but, you don't know
Sure.
what you're doing if you're doing cocaine anymore. There's methamphetamine in it now. People don't even realize this.
You don't know what you're doing if you're doing cocaine anymore. Yeah.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
This
All
isn't
right.
marijuana, guys. This is a big thing.
Harmony, I'm going to let Celeste answer your question, though.
Sure.
Appreciate it. We'll hang up and
Thanks for the call.
listen, and thank you for the call. Thank you so much. What do you think?
Thanks for that call, Harmony. This is actually a really important issue, and as you say, we've got spikes again. I think that those fentanyl strips are really good. I think that we should be distributing them widely. I'm also pleased to hear that you keep Narcan at home. I keep it in my purse, and I keep it in the glove compartment of my car. It's very, very easy to use. You can't hurt a person using Narcan. So I think that it would be a really excellent idea for us to train more people more widely and distribute Narcan widely. It's, for example, in City Hall, there are 2 sort of like break boxes, like these emergency boxes that have Narcan on them, just sort of hanging on the wall, well signed. So if somebody came into City Hall and sort of passed out, I could go right to that Narcan box, break the glass. So I think that all that's really important, and I think that that's an important service that that local public government can offer to educate people about Narcan, widely distribute Narcan, make sure, because Narcan saves lives. So
We're speaking with, Celeste Friend. Jeff asks, would these be the bike lanes that the city forced on downtown without listening to the critics? Spent money putting bike lane lines twice that people ignored and used as a second lane. I guess that's not a question, but how would you answer, Jeff?
So we didn't actually, there are no special lines that created the bike lane, the quote-unquote bike lane, because it's not officially a bike lane. There, you have to put, according per state DOT rules, you have to put a solid white line on the right edge of a travel lane so that cars sort of have those delineations clear to them. That created an empty space between, there's a white line that marks off all the parallel parking spots, and then there's another solid white line that you have to have that is there because of the travel lane. Other than that, the city didn't spend any money in addition to that on bike lane.
Okay.
So
wait. I want to get to the taxing for a second. You're explaining away this lane that exists. As, state law says you got to have a white line here and then you got to have a white line there. It didn't. So you're saying until this was painted, the city of Utica was in violation of state law?
No, because
that's a bike lane.
No,
Celeste.
absolutely. Yeah, it functions. You're right, Jeff. It functions like a bike lane. I guess what I was trying to distinguish there is that the council sort of insisted on it being ambiguous. My preference would be that it be a legally authorized bike lane. One of the reasons for that is in the state of New York, you cannot tell cyclists that they cannot use the road. They are entitled to use every road that car drivers use. So the question is, do we want them to do that safely or do we not want them to do that safely?
And if you're a bike rider and you're going up Genesee Street, you're going to see that those 2 lines. Yeah. You're going to see that's a bike line.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's going to function as a bike lane.
Yeah.
And my preference would be that it be legally designated as such.
All right. On the tax issue, were you behind? You were no longer behind in your taxes.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
So I got
Explain.
behind in my taxes, county and city, and very kindly, one of my colleagues pointed that out to me online. I was really appreciative. I went down to City Hall the next day and paid up both city and county. I actually had to go to the county office building to pay up my county.
How far behind were you?
Maybe about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you were a full year behind.
Maybe. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it was a couple of weeks.
Oh, no. It was more than a couple of weeks.
So you had to pay last year and this year?
I only had to pay one. I had to pay 1 full year of county. So 1 full year of county, and I had to pay the first installment of city. So I wasn't very behind. Here's the thing, and I don't want to make any excuses for myself. I don't have a mortgage. I paid off my mortgage several years ago, and so my taxes are not paid through my mortgage company as an escrow.
Right.
So what you have to do, and again, don't want to make any excuses for myself. The city bills you once a year and asks you to pay in 3 installments. The county bills you once a year at a different time and asks you to pay in 1 installment. And then the school bills you once a year, again, at a different time of year. These are all different, it's like January, April, and September. And those are 2 installments. It's a lot to keep track of. And I wish that we could come up with a system where we could consolidate our entire property tax bill, divide it by 12, and make an automatic monthly withdrawal. That would be a terrific system.
Well,
it would certainly serve me, and I think it would serve a lot of people.
Would be a modern system.
But I don't want to make excuses for myself. I got a little behind, and now I'm all caught up.
To be fair, you said there's a lot to keep track of. Well, you're about to add the entire city's affairs to keep track of. Right. Are you going to be able to handle that?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
I believe you mentioned a colleague kindly pointed out to you and the rest of the community that maybe you were behind on taxes. Yep. I believe that colleague may have said that you were behind on water and National Grid too. Is that correct?
No.
No? Okay. Maybe I got my lines crossed.
National Grid. I don't actually. My partner with whom I live, he pays the National Grid, so I don't. The National Grid is out of my hands. But
National Grid's easy. That's a good one. Because if you don't pay it, they just shut you off.
Just shut you right off.
Yeah.
That's right.
Not behind anymore.
Yep.
Right.
No, you're still behind.
I am all caught up now. I don't want to make excuses for myself. It's embarrassing. Also, just in case anybody's interested, who pays the penalty for that? I pay the penalty for that. I pay penalties and interest and all of that.
There was a penalty and an interest.
There was some interest. I think it's interest. I don't know that there are actually penalties separate from interest, but there are interest.
Chances are,
and you do have to pay that.
If you look at it, the interest is the penalty.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the city of Utica and the county, they made a little extra scratch off me. So.
Do I have anything else here? Okay, well, I'll just pass along what Lance says here. Having worked with road layouts and traffic patterns for 20 years, a traffic study can be manipulated many ways, just like the accident totals she likes to quote that are down 22%. That's only a total of less than 3 accidents, 14 to 11, so not really that much of a change.
14 to 11 is a 22% drop. So if we were saying 100 to 78, nobody would say, well, that's a wash. 14 to 11 can sound like a wash, but it's really not. It's a 22% decrease.
I was watching this is completely off, and I'm watching this might have been MSNBC talking about watching the news media, but they were talking about a poll that was done, and it might have been the popularity or the lack thereof of Donald Trump and of Joe Biden, and they were both, because both have a low approval rating.
Yeah.
And it was just, I could not believe that this was going on. This discussion lasted for 5 minutes. Like, Trump was with the approval rating was like 43%, and since the indictment, it's now 44%. Oh. Biden, since the indictment, went from like 43% to 42% or something like that. But I'm like, they're sitting here talking about
those are rounding errors.
A 1 percentage point change in these two polls. And let's not forget, it's an estimate. A poll is an estimate to begin with. It just was the dumbest thing. That's
right.
where numbers can be completely distorted and
sure.
And that's where even these numbers. What do they all really mean?
But these are not estimates. These are actual traffic accidents.
But wouldn't you rather have it long term in order to be
absolutely? We want to know.
It could have been road conditions. It could have been we had a streak of rain and that changed. Who knows?
We could have had a visitor in from out of town who didn't know the layout of the road.
Correct. So you need a longer period to study.
But this is not the only evidence that the road diet makes the street safer. Everybody knows this. Every study. Other cities have been doing this for years and years and years and years, and we're behind on this. And all the evidence from federal studies, state studies, engineering studies, State Department of Transportation, everybody tells us that the new arrangement on Genesee Street is safer.
Okay.
And actually putting bicycles in that bicycle lane will be safer for the cyclists, but also safer for the drivers.
I have a couple of comments, and then I'll let you respond, and then we'll wrap it up and see what we can do for a debate next week.
Okay.
Joe says, this is another Joe, if she can't keep track of her own taxes, how can she keep track of city taxes? It's kind of what I had said. You feel like you can handle it.
If I had a full-time staff at home helping me keep track of my personal bills, I probably wouldn't have, I wouldn't have fallen behind. I just don't think that there's any analogy to that.
Here is Joe Lode. Hi, Joe.
Hi, good morning. So I just wanted to just get everything clear. So you're for that whole, as you call it, the road diet downtown?
Yes.
You are? Okay, so then there's really not even a close race. So the race is between Galimi and Cardillo, because clearly the road diet is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a downtown area. And you can quote all you want on references to accidents and stuff. I've seen more problems with driving down there than I've seen before there were 2 lanes. It's terrible. It's congested. But anyway, I guess I just, that's all I have to say. The real race here is between Cardillo and Galimi in the city of Utica.
She is in it, to be fair.
There will be a Democrat on the ballot in November. It will be either myself or Mr. DeBrango.
It's not going to happen because you're all nuts. Well,
Okay.
most of you
All
are
right,
all nuts.
Joe, let's
but
be
anyway,
nice.
it's not gonna happen.
Let's be
Have a
nice.
good day. Thank you.
Okay, hang it up.
Every expert disagrees with you, Joe. Sorry about that.
It is safer for pedestrians. I worked downtown for 6 months when I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Crossing that for even a guy, at that time I was in my late 30s, and I'm in decent shape. You would have to, I'd have to run across the street because there's cars coming in 4 lanes in both directions. It wasn't that safe for pedestrians. And I know most of the people who are downtown are not, 6'1", in their mid-30s. There's a lot of older folks who have either canes or walkers or some people in wheelchairs. It was a dangerous situation, in my opinion.
To me, the most important safety improvement that came is that you no longer, when you parallel park in order to shop downtown or have lunch downtown, you're no longer opening your car door directly into a lane of moving traffic. I find that very dangerous. When I used to have to do it, now we don't have to do it. And somebody recently said to me, imagine doing that and you're getting kids out of your car. So imagine you're a young parent, you parallel park, you get out of your car, there are cars whizzing by you, not more than 12 inches away, and you have to get your toddler out of the back seat. So to me, that's the most compelling thing about the safety improvement downtown, is the fact that you can now park and safely get out of your car and not be worried that you're about to be clipped by a vehicle coming at you.
You bring back memories of when we took my kids, my 2 boys. They were 3 and 4 years old. It was me and my 2 boys. We're on 5th Avenue, New York City. We're going into a themed restaurant. And as we're getting out of the taxi cab, my youngest son began to throw up. The cab driver was like, "Get out of the car." And I got him out of the car. Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually driving our cab. That was a bad impression of him, but he was driving. Anyway, as I'm getting my son out of the car.
Those were in Arnold's salad days, I believe.
I have one cat. I have one son who's throwing up. The other who's decided he's going to wander into the street.
Into traffic, sure.
Okay.
That's what they do.
I don't have arms long enough, so I run away. Meanwhile, one kid on the ground in the middle of 5th Ave throwing up. I'm running to catch my other son. It was terrible. It's not easy to be one parent, 2 kids, 2 toddlers, and have traffic whizzing by, right?
Parallel parking.
Maybe if it could be safer, it could be a better thing.
Being a parker downtown Utica is now ever so much better and safer and just more comfortable. It's not anxiety provoking.
The good news is he did not throw up in the car because I'd have had to pay a cleaning fee for that.
Well, that's
How
when
much
you
do you
start.
have to tip a taxi driver when your kid is thrown up in the car?
I don't even remember at this point. I have a feeling we didn't even pay him. He just took off.
Yeah,
he was
well,
like, I am out of here.
That's when you dip into your accent bag and you go, no
English. No English. Good point. All right.
Celeste, thank you for coming on, because sometimes you take a beating on this show, but you still come back every time, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that, and I wish other political folks would do the same.
So I just want this is just to reiterate something I said before. Look, this is part of the package of being a public figure. I get that. People are going to criticize you. People are going to not like the things you said. And I think it's disqualifying to be a mayor if you're not capable of taking that kind of criticism and calmly, non-defensively. One shouldn't get triggered and be made angry just because somebody doesn't like what you've said.
Are you implying that your opponent, Mr. DeBrango, gets defensive and angry?
Yes.
Okay.
He did.
Right, well,
just last night, somebody asked him a question he didn't like. He got really defensive. And I just think that this show, is that what we want in our next mayor? Someone who can't take a pointed question.
Okay. Celeste Friend, thank you. We'll see if he responds to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Coming up, the County Executive, Anthony Piceni. In a minute, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients. The Falcon Clinic is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic, and fist bump, and they're accepting new patients right now. We have family members who are now patients there at the Falcon Clinic. I am a patient there as well at the Falcon Clinic. They're working on my sleep issues. Will they be successful? My wife says no one can fix you. Sleep, fatigue, pain, ADHD, any issues you might be having, Dr. Shemolinsky is awesome at digging in deep to figure out what is the root of the problem and then finding a way. It may mean medicine, but it also could mean something that you can do on your own, an osteopathic approach, and combine that with medicine. It could make things better. Dr. Shemolinsky, Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Kosminski, all under one roof at the Falcon Clinic. Accepting new patients today, 315-507-4751. They're located in Washington Mills. Also, the official coffee of this radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Fresh donuts and bagels every day. It's Father's Day week. Looking for a Father's Day gift for your dad? A great idea is making it easy with one of those gift cards. You're in the drive-thru. The drive-thru's fast. You drive up, you show them the gift card, and you're on your way. They're selling gift cards this week for Father's Day. Get a $25 gift card for $20. Save $5 at Daylight Donuts in New Hartford.
We all like convenience, right? ATMs, takeout food, drive-through pharmacies. Now, Bremer's is making it just as convenient to enjoy your favorite wines and spirits with Bremer's to go. It's simple. Place your order at bremerswineandliquor.com or save $5 on your first order with our mobile app. Order before 5 p.m. for pickup the same day. Hey, you can even call us when you get to the store and we'll bring your order right out and load it in the car for you. Now that's convenience. Maybe you're planning a party. Maybe you want to stock up on your favorite wines. Or you just want to save time when you're out and about. Whatever the reason, at Bremer's, we're all about incredible customer service. So when you're on the go, we are too. Order at bremerswineandliquor.com or save $5 with our mobile app. Order before 5 p.m. for pickup the same day. It's Bremer's to go, available 7 days a week from Bremer's Wine and Liquor on Commercial Drive in New Hartford.
Warner Sales and Service, building relationships, building trust.
This is Lynn from Warner Sales and Service. Mow like a pro with Hustler Turf Zero-Turn Mowers. Hustler mowers are designed to be maintenance and service friendly for the everyday homeowner while not sacrificing the build and cut quality they're known for. From the heavy-duty frame to the welded steel deck to their trademark smooth track steering, Hustler Turf Zero-Turn Mowers deliver professional-grade cut quality for a perfectly manicured lawn. It's your chance to be the envy of your neighborhood. Come see us at Warner Sales and Service on the Greenway New London Road in Rome, just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona. And we'll guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget. Find us at warnerss.com.
Warner's, where quality still counts. At Warner's.
High school graduation is just weeks away. Before you know it, you'll be packing up all of the new things you bought for your dorm room and heading off to college to start your next chapter. More independence, new friends, and new adventures. But wait, have you opened your new campus checking account at Adirondack Bank yet? Adirondack's campus checking has all of the features you're looking for, including no monthly minimum balance requirements, no monthly service charge, electronic and mobile banking capabilities, which is a must for a college student on the go, and up to $15 in ATM withdrawal fees waived per statement cycle. Stop into any of our conveniently located branches today to open your new campus checking account and receive a free gift. Let us help you get off to a great financial start. A minimum deposit of $25 is required at account opening. Member FDIC.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Portions of today's program brought to you by Bill and Robin Monjo of River Hills Properties. If you are, and I have to say with the county executive here, and I'm not asking for you to endorse River Hills over anybody else, but one of the things that Bill and Robin Monjo are all about is, and it's very interesting how people who have gone somewhere else and they come back here love it here, love where we're going. It's the people who we've stayed here all our lives. We're our own worst critics. So when you listen to the Monjos, they love talking about how the area has new opportunities, all the homes, the North Country, the beauty of the Mohawk Valley. They just love the area, and they'd love to represent you and service you when it comes to selling your home. And they do so many extra things. It just makes life that much easier for you when selling a property. River Hills Properties with offices in Barneville, Little Falls, and Utica. Online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com. If you're selling a home, reach out to River Hills, 315-896-1009. The county executive is in. Before we get to you, you have a lot of comments.
Yes,
and I have some as well here. And good morning.
Okay, just a comment for myself because this makes me laugh. We talked yesterday about Nikola Jokic, and I want to go home. When is parade? I want to go home.
That was a good impression, yeah.
Yeah, so here's his quote today. He won the MVP in the NBA Finals.
He lost it.
I left it in the equipment manager's room, and now it's not there.
It's gone.
He could care less, this guy. Okay, so here we go.
I love that, though. He just wants to play and then go home.
Christine in Whitesboro says, Liberal Lou needs to calm down. I'm tired of listening to him. I already shared with you Lance's comment. John in Deerfield says, last week you guys were all over the place using percentage statistics to show how irrelevant changes in data were. Shark attacks go from 1 to 4, and it's a 400% increase, which is accurate but misleading. And then he's talking about the 22% reduction, calling that significant when we're talking about such a small number.
Well,
I do think Celeste addressed that.
There's and with my reference, when the stats guy on NBC going crazy over the fact that Trump's numbers went up by a point and Biden's went down by a point, like that is significant or meaningful at all. 1 point means nothing in a poll, which I even question the legitimacy of polls today. It becomes very difficult. Right, with landlines are a thing of the past.
Cells and the margin of error is always 4 to 5%.
Right, you're fighting over 1% here. I'd say you can't be happy with either one of their approval ratings.
Failed to pay her taxes until someone shamed her into it. I know who I'm voting for. That comes from Big Honey in Hecla, but if he's in Hecla, he can't vote in Utica.
Well, you're probably right.
Dave says smart cities aim for safer streets and multiple methods of transportation. Joe Lode is an ignorant loudmouth.
Woo. Okay, wow, people are opinionated.
And then Doug in Utica says, and I'll use this as my segue to the county executive, you can obtain fentanyl testing strips not only from Catholic Charities but other agencies in the county. And going to the website New York Matters, they will send you many for free. I know Oneida County has made Narcan available, fentanyl testing strips. I think you also have like a hotline to call.
We do.
So can you talk about this? This has become like really a major issue in society that people are falling over dead.
Shame do we have to have even talk about it, but we do.
It is. We have, and we have, I think, there's some 150 locations of our Narcan cabinets, in various places throughout the county. Some have more than one, like the colleges, may have multiple cabinets or whatever, and the home kits are the little portable kits. They're the bag kits that we sent out, the safety kits. I think we've distributed nearly 800. I mean, which is pretty remarkable when you think about the numbers
800
out there.
though?
800, almost.
Well, are you talking about the pill disposal?
No, I'm talking about
okay.
I'm talking about a Narcan,
The
Narcan
spray.
kit,
Yeah.
the spray, the kit that is in the little bag, not the cabinets. And
Gotcha.
the cabinets are static at places.
Can I ask somebody asking this morning on the Narcan kits? Your car in the summertime, if you keep them in a vehicle, does the heat affect them at all?
Supposedly, I know that we've asked that because the same with outdoors. If we put these cabinets
right.
outdoors, we have to be aware of
Sunshine,
it. I think the the only danger is in the bitter,
in the bitter cold. Oh, okay.
But as I understand, the heat does not. I would assume if it was a long period of time, perhaps. I mean, but it doesn't impact it.
I want to, if we could, talk about signatures and petitions, and there will be no Republican primary for the county executive's race. That is now official.
Right.
So the appellate court made a decision. Do you know what the decision was, what the number was?
It was unanimous.
It was unanimous.
Because it's only it's a three-person panel.
I thought it was three-person.
It's a three-person
Jeff
panel.
said
It's not
7
the
this
entire-
morning.
Well, there's 7 on the appellate, but
but
the panel
when you
that
see
looks
the
at
panel,
those, as they break up these cases, as I understand.
That's
it,
what I thought it was.
they go that
Okay,
way.
so it's hard to argue at this point. You can't argue the appellate. I mean, I guess you could, but there's certainly no
Court of
time to.
Appeals,
Yeah, you have to
but
go to the
there's-
Court of Appeals.
But early voting, starts Saturday.
Yeah.
So
So are you challenging his petitions for his independent line?
No, we had filed general objections just to hold the spot open, and and we reviewed them, which we do. Yeah, we would do with any candidate. And I have,
were there issues in your?
There
opinion?
were issues, but there weren't enough.
Okay,
there weren't enough.
So he's legitimately placed himself on the ballot for the general election.
An independent line.
On an independent line, which I think is lower taxes, term limit. Yeah, some sort of a name that I don't know. But ultimately, it gets him on the ballot. Also, I do want to bring up that we had people from Rome Labs on the air on Monday, and I know that Mr. Hennessy's been quite critical of moving what has been moved into Marcy with Wolf Speed, and we asked point blank on this quantum computing. Should the county have pushed to put quantum computing up there? And his answer to that was absolutely not, because we're not at a commercial level when it comes to this type of technology, and that the chip fab industry will be around for a long, long time because quantum is quite far off. I thought they did a really good job of, explaining what they're doing out there today.
And to clarify that point, I mean, I would leave all of that to them because they are the experts. Right. But we have worked very closely with them, as I know they said, in developing the open lab space at Anavari, for quantum computing, and working with them and SUNY and the Griffiths Institute and our Ops Center and all of that to put that piece in. So it is taking place, and it's on a different level. It's not a commercial application at this time. I think that was his.
That is.
That was
although
there are some
quantum, the quantum technology does exist in things that are today.
Quantum has existed for a long
goes back, I believe, to the 1930s or even maybe before.
So, it really does, which everybody is.
But there is a current race right now to the to quantum eureka, if you will. Countries around the world, especially the U.S., Iran, obviously Russia and China, all trying to be the first to master quantum computing. And the first one who gets there is probably going to reap the benefits.
They are, and certainly the Air Force Research Lab and some of the offshoot companies that are working with them on the contractual basis are focusing on that, but also the international aspect of it, working with with the lab. The foreign nationals, which are working with the lab, is another interesting piece.
Dr. Haydick and I believe it's Colonel Garcia, both saying yesterday that they, number one, are extremely pleased in where this is going. Dr. Haydick actually said that when it comes to quantum computing, this is something to be pretty. We all can be proud of. When it comes to quantum computing, all roads lead to Rome.
They do.
That's a big statement.
They really do. And I don't think I think we talk about it all over and over again. When Griffiths closed, and we had then, and in my other role, prior to this, had focused on the lab. And everybody was like, well, but it's the lab. You're losing all these military jobs because of the base and everything else, civilian pieces. But really, the lab really was the anchor, and to a great point, and even more so than we thought at that particular time. We knew that it was, key to the cybersecurity, all of the different things on national security that they were doing. But because everything is so locked down, secret, and all the other stuff, you didn't know a lot. But it's turned out to be the gem that has really propelled us into the technology industry.
Some of these comments that are coming in on some of our frequent callers are really inappropriate. I don't know why everybody's so sour this morning.
Well, the other thing is it's much easier to make an inappropriate comment using your fingers than it is your mouth.
Yes. So I'm not even going to read these because I think this is kind of being mean to some of our frequent callers. And I'm glad to see that some of these folks who I don't often see weighing in, I'm glad you're weighing in. But please save it for... Don't rip down the local folks.
Okay, so...
I do have a question, though, and this comes from Lance. All right.
Of course.
Is Lance really from Lee? Lance, come on, man. You got to come in the studio.
Well, there's criticism in this, but I do think it's a valid question, and I'll answer. I'll ask this in a different way. Ask Mr. Pacenti. He suggests that the ban of the migrants coming upstate will be overturned. What will happen, and where will they be housed if it is overturned? If your ban is overturned?
If it's overturned?
Yeah. Is it still in court? And is there a chance that you think the courts will rule against you?
Look, there's always a chance.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
that's it's everything's 50-50 in a courtroom these days, and sometimes other ways. I don't know. I mean, and if it gets overturned, I mean, then what? I think we got to look at what our next steps are. But if it gets overturned, clearly there are hotels that are willing to accept them, but. I will still look at ways in which there has to be. My argument is, what's the plan in going forward, and how do we complete all of the necessary needs of these people? I think it's more than just where they're going to be housed, and that's why I think the court argument is more about the ban is really obviously one piece of it, but there's a greater picture and a greater story here, rather than just about where they're going to be housed, because that's not. Where they're going to be housed is not the end all of it. Okay, they're going to be housed here. Okay, who's going to take care of them? I think that's where we, as other counties and my colleagues around the state, are looking at it from a different viewpoint. It's not only, the ban is about capacity that we've said, which New York has said, but it's also about what next. So, okay, you found some place to house them. Now what? And I think that's, I think that those are, it's too early to,
Well, where's the money come when it comes to feeding
where's
people?
The money come? But it's really, and I had this discussion. I met with the clergy last week that had come out, kind of, against my stance, and I met with them, directly, and myself, and talked to them, and went through. I go, look, but I don't think you look at it the big picture here about what we do on a regular basis, what we do every day, and I've talked about that on this show. But then again, it's like, okay, so they come, and we're welcoming, and that's all well and good. How do you do? So they stay at a hotel. What happens with 3 meals a day? What happens with health care? What is their, what is their freedom of movement? What do they? And how do we manage all that?
We just enter children into schools.
What about children? What about education?
Yeah.
What about what about all the, what about the language services? What else is necessary? I think, you have to really look at the entire picture of this, and not just about where they're going to sleep at night, because that's not what the story's about.
Yeah,
it's much more than that.
They were provided with a
that's
SNAP card.
That's our argument. That's our argument, and to to say that it's whether it's some inhumane, what they're doing with these people is inhumane. That's another story. The point about the inhumanity of it is just plopping them in a hotel somewhere and then saying, "Okay, Bill, take care of them."
So you wouldn't want me doing that.
No, even if they had a SNAP card. Well, we heard the story about the kids earlier. Please.
One's throwing up here, the other one's running into the street. It was terrible.
Right.
If they had a SNAP card, how do they get to the grocery store to get groceries and then get back to their hotel room?
Yeah, I just think there is no plan in place, and that's a real problem.
There is
none. Lance used the word bigoted here, okay? And he says he was quoting the mayor of New York City, who, by the way, is saying we don't have room for them, so send them upstate.
Well, the mayor did call us bigots. He did. In
the
lawsuit, I think it's. I thought it was an outrageous way of dealing with it. I think, for the mayor of New York, I think everybody in this room, I've been to New York, you've been to New York. Has he ever been upstate to see what, diversity and what, our county does and how we treat people? That's just, there's no place for that. It's a cheap shot. I thought, and I still think, and I said that publicly along with my colleagues, this is not about bigotry. It's not about racism. It's about, so his argument is capacity. He can argue capacity, but we can't argue capacity. I think that's one piece. I'm not saying it's the catch-all, but I think it goes beyond all that, like to all of the points that I just made.
Yeah. Not to mention, I think I've heard from people, and how do you respond? We are struggling taking care of the people that we already have here, and there's been a new influx of homeless people here in the area. Now you're adding more to the mix.
It's ongoing, and as I've said since this began, I have we deal with hotels all the time. I have hotels now that don't want to always take the homeless and the families that are in need in a short term. And let me clarify that. Short term. We don't house people in this community, at least in this government over time, for 30 days. We don't. They're not housed for a week. They may recur time after time, in a period of time, but not 30 days. And not for a long time.
Talking with the county executive, Anthony Piceni. Who is on the line there, Davey? It's not showing up on my screen.
Tom from New Hartford.
Hi, Tom. You're on the air with the county executive. Good morning.
Hi. Well, it's funny here. New York City decides that it's going to stand up and beat its chest and say, "Oh, we're a sanctuary city. Come on down." Well, when they do that, it makes the entire state a sanctuary state. No, a couple of years ago when that sanctuary state started, I said, well, one of these days we're going to have to establish border crossings at every place that's not part of New York City to cure the declarations that they've made that make their laws different from our laws. And look, Rockland County's basically putting up those border crossings. They're stopping people and turning them around. Just because New York City declares a certain law a certain way doesn't mean we have to take it.
Right.
Their gun laws are different.
Right.
And as soon as you move out of New York City, all the other laws change. We shouldn't be responsible for picking up the tab on their cosmetic largesse to the entire world.
All right.
God knows where it's going to stop.
Tom, thanks. You want to comment on that?
Well, I think Tom makes a few good points. I think that the point of that New York City has been a sanctuary city and declared that and opened up their doors, and then realized that they were getting too full, and so I do think that the manner in which they approach this, and we had this argument with the governor and with the mayor directly for the one time that we did have a conversation with him about, you have to understand what we're dealing with. And well, I'm looking for help. Well, so are we. I mean, and there is a, capacity, and you can't compare, what is New York City now? I lose track of the population. Is it
It's still the biggest city
it's
in the
still
country.
right. Is it 9? Is it 10, 11 million? I don't know.
8.5 million.
8.5.
Yeah. As of 2021.
Right,
so
which whatever.
We're up to 9.
Right, we're up to 9 million. We're up to 9 million. But I mean, you can't compare that and then turn around to a county of 240,000 and say that, well, you can handle what we can't. I mean, and there's a balance there too. I mean, whether it's and whether it's 40 people or whatever the number is, it's still the capacity to the per capita is still a factor.
Is part of the issue if they said we need you to take 50 and that's it? Would that change your feeling on it?
It would not. Not at this moment. No, it would not.
Okay.
It would not.
If they said we need you to take 50, and here's the plan on how to take care of them, here's the money that's going to support it, would that change?
Well, I don't know that would change it either. I mean, I think the other issue is so I've talked about this before, even with the clergy last week. I go, money's okay, money, all right, you're going to pay for that, okay. That's all well and good, but I have staffing issues now that are a problem. As evidenced yesterday, we did some things at the board to address that. So it's not just a matter you can throw money in my way. If I don't have the people to serve that additional population, in addition to what I currently have on my plate now, I'm still in that same dilemma. So, the money is not the problem. The bigger plan, if they want to send people of their own to come and manage this, that might change at least the dynamics of it.
And you just mentioned this. There was a move to upgrade salaries for 911 workers and social services agencies.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? And what did you guys do?
Two things, two different things. The social service piece, I put the budget together. We had unfunded about 130 positions with the intent that we would look at a restructuring of different departments and then hopefully be able to eliminate some jobs, from that clearly we're not filling, but they're in the budget and there's savings there. the DSS commissioner, who's the commissioner of Community and Family Services, which is the big umbrella department. Colleen Box, her and her staff came up with a very dynamic plan that addressed that, eliminated clearly 30 positions out of the county budget completely by restructuring her department, providing some upgrades in different salary titles, such as caseworkers that were having trouble not only hiring but retaining. So, and social welfare examiners, our other Office for the Aging, some of our nurses in those areas, in the hopes that that'll, improve our recruitment and starting pay, getting people back in the door, but then restructuring that department. On the 911 side, that's been tied up in contract negotiations because the 911 employees are part of the PBA, which is the sheriff deputies, which they've all been without a contract since 2020, the end of 2020. We're at arbitration and into arbitration with the PBA, but that only covers the law enforcement side. I have a real serious issue over at 911, again, similar to what we faced with caseworkers, in which having difficulty hiring, difficulty retaining. We have about 52 positions there. We are only around 20
wow.
filled. Goodness. We are our people at, and we have some that are in training right now. We have another 10 or so that are still in training, but are not on the job right now. I mean, that is the critical issue. So I declared through the charter or the administrative code, I have the ability to declare a crisis, ask the board to kind of subvert. So this kind of steps over the contract issue, but to institute raises to 911, to that staffing. Again, we have people that are working 16-hour shifts can't be. I mean, these are the people that are responsible to dispatch first responders throughout this, this county, and we really need help there. So that was the other aspect of it.
County executive, thank you. We appreciate it.
This is a type of situation where you get there's a STEP program, right? So you get a raise every couple of years. There's a pension involved, or no?
Every year.
I mean, and you can't hire for that position?
It's incredible. County Executive Anthony Pacini, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you have severe back pain, John Decker coming right up. If you have severe back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, there is help. You don't have to live with the pain. We're talking about Dr. Hyder and the Omni Surgical Center. Non-invasive and low-invasive surgeries, procedures that occur here, and injections. You might not need a procedure. And these are procedures that people are walking out the door that very same day. It's incredible. Omni Surgery Center, Dr. Hyder, call 315-765-8448 or go to their website. killpain.com is the website. John Decker from Gray TV, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well today, Bill. Hope you're having a nice week.
I want to ask you what a week it has been. Of course, all of what's coming out of Florida with the former president. What's your take on all of this? William Barr says if all of this is true, Donald Trump is in trouble.
Yeah, he said he's toast. That's the word that he used. He said that on Fox News over the weekend, and that's the task of the special counsel, to prove those charges that are listed in that indictment. Willfully retaining national defense information, 31 counts of that. I think one of the most serious, if not the most serious charge there, conspiracy to obstruct justice. Both he and his aide, Walt Nauta, both charged with that particular crime. If you're convicted, it's pretty serious, maximum sentence, 20 years in prison. So it's just getting underway. We'll see when this trial is actually scheduled to start. But, if I'm a lawyer representing the former president, I'm filing a number of motions to exclude certain evidence. That's my first order of business. We'll see as the former president puts his legal team together, because it's still not complete, the direction that they decide to go in.
So some have stepped down, walked away, and resigned. We're talking about attorneys for the president. And they're having a difficult time finding attorneys. So we have been told. Why is that? What is your thought?
I think the reason, there's talk about, well, he doesn't pay his bills. No, these people ask for a significant retainer up front, and they're getting paid because all of this money that is flowing in to Donald Trump's campaign, can be used to pay legal bills, so they're going to get paid. I think the big reason is when you're looking for a lawyer, first of all, they have to be a member of the Florida bar, number one, and then you're looking for, superstars as it relates to defense work for white-collar crimes, national security issues, very small group of those people, and they're typically working at the largest and most well-respected firms in South Florida. And then you run into a problem because you can't just simply bring in a client. You work at one of those large law firms.
Yeah.
There's a committee, and the committee says, well, if we bring in Donald J. Trump, it's going to upset this client and that client and the other client, and it's going to perhaps do damage to our reputation. All of these things are factors, and I think that's the reason why it's difficult for him to hire the attorneys that he needs to deal with this particular criminal case.
And then on the other side, it's funny how if you're a Republican or Democrat, you believe the FBI if there's a whistleblower claiming that Biden did something wrong, but you don't believe if Trump did something wrong. And on the Democratic side, it's just the opposite. It's funny how that works. What's your take? Is there a legitimate accusation right now against Joe Biden taking, what are they saying, $5 million from the Ukrainians?
No, I mean, if there was, then we'd hear about it. Senator Chuck Grassley, who I have a lot of respect for, he says that he has recordings. Well, he should play them. He doesn't need a committee to play recordings.
Right,
he could call a press conference, and everybody would show up. Every network would show up. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, they'd all show up. Play the tapes. If you have some sort of, if you have the goods, show us the goods. And so I haven't seen them yet. But look, what the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee and the chair of the Oversight Committee have both acknowledged is that an individual who is an FBI informant has made credible claims. They've both said that. These are credible claims from a credible witness. So I say to Mr. Comer, continue your investigation. It seems to me like you're heading down the right path, but you're not done yet in terms of proving what it is that you need to prove and then presenting that information, if you wish to do so, to the Department of Justice.
And by the way, the White House press corps, John is the only attorney and can even practice before the Supreme Court. As always, John, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me on today. Have a great day.
You
Talk
do
to you
the
soon.
same.
Bye-bye.
Have a great week. John Decker from Gray TV. Fred F. Collis & Sons, Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, has been in business for more than 85 years. And if you're thinking about heat, eventually it's going to warm up. You might want to make sure that your AC is in tip-top shape. And Collis can help you with that. And also, if you want to add and save money and become more energy efficient, the window box air conditioners can be very, very expensive. If you don't have duct work, maybe central air is not the answer. But the mini split system is amazingly energy efficient. And Collis has many state rebate and incentive programs that are out there. They can walk you through the rebate situation. Call them today, 315-768-2323. Fred F. Collis & Sons, Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. WIBX Utica Rome, it's 9 o'clock.
Fast, reliable, and honest service. Finding a good mechanic isn't as easy as it used to be, but you can still trust the experts at the Automotive Service Center on River Road in Marcy. Their new state-of-the-art facility is open now and located just a few feet from the old shop. One thing that hasn't changed is their commitment to you. The summer driving season is here, so call to make your appointment today. 315-738-7710 or online at autoservicecentermarcy.com.
Hi, it's Jordan from Little Falls Lumber. Summer is a great time to freshen up the look of your home, and we have you covered. We stock a variety of name brand products from GAF shingles, LP vinyl siding, Sierra Pacific windows, to Moisture Shield composite decking, and premium grade pressure treated decking. We have options to fit any budget. Stop by one of our 3 convenient locations, Little Falls, Syracuse, and Schenectady, to see what we have in store, or visit us at littlefallslumber.com.
Hi, this is Rob Hilton of Hilton Estate and Elder Law with important information that you should know about planning for nursing home care. The best way, of course, is to plan ahead. The key is to make sure that you make decisions far ahead of the time